or if they trade out, trade back into the second round, pick up extra draft picks. They already have 4 picks in the top 100. Maybe they can add another one. We'll see what happens next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but certainly mock drafts going on and more that come out daily as they get closer and closer. We'll see what the trends are with that. We'll talk a little bit about that today, but Adam Teicher joins us at 11 o'clock. Les Norman, we will break the norm coming up at noon. We won't break the norm of the Royals offense because that continues to be the trend there, but we'll break the norm with Les Norman coming up in the noon hour. Todd Lebo joins us. We'll play some fact or fiction in the 1 o'clock hour with Todd Lebo.
Fact.
And whatever else comes up along the way. 913-912-4810. Text line to join us, 913-912-4810. If you want to be part of the show, part of the conversation, pulling up the text line right now. So we will get to some of those as we roll along. I just don't give up a home run to Jazz, you know what I mean?
Dude, I was so mad.
Like, just not Jazz, you know what I mean? Like, this city and Jazz, there's a great connection. It's just like he's the worst kind of Jazz. Hey, Jazz has a long history in this city. Just that Jazz, no, thank you. You know,
I can't stand the Yankees. I hate New York. Jazz is the worst of it all. They tried stealing the strip and calling it a New York strip when it was already a Kansas City strip. Those bunch of losers.
Yeah.
Gosh, I hate New York.
Hackers, biters. Just stealing our stuff, you know what I mean? Everybody else is like, oh, burn-ins. No, they started here. Just recognize that the meat candy started in Kansas City. Texas, you can have your beef and your brisket and everything. Oh, we make the best brisket. Cool. What do you do with the brisket? You make any burn-ins? What are those? Oh, we'll tell you about some burn-ins here in Kansas City. We'll tell you about those.
Yeah, New York's great if you want to get yelled at.
Or you get people that are like, burn-ins? Isn't it like the burn end of who likes a burn end of the rib? Would you just take off the burn end part of a rib and eat that? That's just dumb. Jackass. So, Jazz hits a home run. Wells hits a home run. Grisham hits a home run. Rice hits a home run. And Bobby Witt hits a home run. Not a surprise that all 5 runs were scored via home run. All solo shots. I would say that even with the Royals' struggles offensively, this is what's disappointing about last night's game, is that even with the Royals' struggles offensively, I still was disappointed in how they performed offensively last night. It still was underwhelming. In that ballpark, against 2025 Carlos Carrasco, we're not talking about,
2017.
2020 when he had a sub-3 ERA, but although that was like in less than 100 innings. But yeah, 2016, 2017, when he was sitting at like a 3.2 ERA in 200 innings. Like that Carlos Carrasco that's almost won 20 games a couple times. No, it's not that Carlos Carrasco. It's a Carlos Carrasco that came into the game with a 7.7 ERA. Only 3 games that he had pitched. Small sample size. You just took a drink, so it's fine. That counted. But then he goes up there, and they make him look like late teens Carlos Carrasco. And early in the game, like, I love Salvi. And it is not... It's nothing new. We know this about Salvi. He'll get hot for a couple 3-week stretch, and he will just mash everything. He will barrel every ball up. He'll hit home runs. He'll carry an offense. Right now, they need somebody to join Bobby Witt because he's on a 7-game hitting streak and average back above 300. Even with that triple taken away from him, that was ruled an error. Which, by the way, had he hit for the cycle, there is 0 chance they changed that to an error. Also, nobody can get an error these days. And if you don't touch the ball with your glove in the outfield, it's never called an error. Yet, that one was called an error. Why? Why is that? He took a bad route? See Hunter Renfroe. see many outfielders taking bad routes that don't. If we're going to start counting errors for bad routes, then there may not be an earned run by pitchers in Major League Baseball if we're just talking about bad routes that are taken to balls because the guy missed it. Anyway, that's besides the point. But it's Bobby Witt and a collection of guys that are batting 200 or worse. There were 6 guys. 6 guys. 2/3 of your lineup last night is at 200 or worse.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
Thank you, LeBron. But 6 of them. Jonathan India's, for the most part, to a large degree, doing what they wanted Jonathan India to do, and that is just simply get on base. He's getting on base at 130 points higher than his batting average. So he's getting on base at 330, which is fine. Last night he did get on base one time via walk, but he's batting 196. Bobby Witt's at almost 320. He's at 317. Vinny at 207. Salvi at 203. Massey 186. Biggio 192. Waters 182. And you've got Michael at 278 and Kyle Isbell at 268. 3 guys. Garcia, Isbell, and Bobby. And that first inning was so indicative of what we've seen this year with this team and the frustrations with it. Like, you get a leadoff walk. Like Jonathan India, leadoff walk. And it's unfortunate because Bobby's been the guy so far. And on 2 pitches, he pops up. I'm like, that sucks. Then Vinny walks, and you're like, okay, first and second, only 1 out. Here we go. Let's see what Salvi can do. Salvi takes the first pitch right down the middle. Takes the ball outside of the zone. Swings at a ball outside of the zone. Takes a ball outside of the zone. And then swings at a 58.5-foot breaking ball in the dirt. Maybe it was more like 60. Might have been a 60-foot breaking ball, but still, the thing kicked up dirt when he was swinging. The 5 pitches, only one of them was a strike, and it's the one that he watched go right down the middle. And then Michael Massey in his, I'm trying to hit home runs. Each time I'm swinging, flies out. Like, oh, he was so close. Yeah, we've said that about Massey a lot, but he's so close. But I don't need a 25 or trying to hit 25 home run second baseman. Can I have a second baseman that hits 250? I don't need him to hit 25 home runs. I'm asking, can he just simply hit 250?
He's making Chris Getz look like an offensive wizard right now.
And then in the night, he's so close. He barely missed it. Yeah, but we've been barely missing this entire season. Like, we've been watching guys barely miss all season. And it is difficult when your main guys are not producing. So Vinny and Salvi. There is a lot on their shoulders along with Bobby Witt. Garcia's come back to earth a little bit at 280. But again, I still believe in the overall profile of what we're seeing from Garcia this year. I mean, I'll take what Kyle Isbell's giving him right now. 268. Sign me up right now. Settle out of court right now for the rest of the season. Him batting 268.
That deserves a drink, too. I think settle the court.
Settle out of court in a small sample size. Yeah, it's a small sample size for settling out of court, but still, I would certainly do that. Settle out of court right now for 268.
Dylan, you got to mainline that coffee now.
Yes.
You got to mainline that. That's a lot of drinks.
Yes. Go ahead and real quick. You got a $100 bill you can roll up right there. There's a little spilled coffee on the table. Go ahead and clean that thing up. But like Drew Waters 180. Okay, but we know what Drew Waters is. They've given him chances before. We know what Biggio is too. And Biggio's playing because Renfroe and MJ can't.
Yes.
It's like, well, Kevin Biggio, maybe he'll give you a walk. Like, that's what they're searching for right now, is maybe they'll give you a walk. And it's tough to look at the dominant part of or what should be the producing part of the lineup and just simply blame them. But right now, it's been an issue. 1 through 4 is an issue for this team. As a collective.
Oh, yeah.
India's getting on base, but batting 196. Bobby's doing his thing and has a couple of home runs, a 10-pitch at bat, goes to right field with the hit. So he's pulling the pitches that are mistakes, and he's, up the middle, right center when he's sort of locked in, and that's what we're seeing from Bobby right now in his 7-game hit streak. But Vinny looks like he's trying to hit 7 home runs every at bat. And Salvi's in his Salvi mode of swinging at everything, and I'm not sure I would ever give him a pitch to hit. Even in the 9th inning when Devin Williams walks him, I was shocked. But that at bat from Salvi in the 9th, I know it's so rare for him, and it's what essentially the Royals sign up for because this is who he is. He's not going to change. Okay, so this is Salvi. But, man, can you have more of those at-bats earlier in the game? Like, it just feels like later on in the games, you might see an at-bat like that from Salvi, and it's like, no, I've got to lock in, and I can't be swinging at stupid stuff. But in the first inning, like, free swinging, man. I'm going to swing it at anything. They had 2 hits last night, and both of them were Bobby Witt. And people were complaining about, Yankee Stadium, this Little League ballpark sucks. I agree. I think it's BS that they made the Royals hit in Yellowstone while the Yankees got to hit in Yankee Stadium. It's ridiculous that they moved the fences back and raised the walls, green monster all the way around, and 410 in right field and left field down the line. It's ridiculous they made the Royals hit in that ballpark and the Yankees got to hit in Yankee Stadium. Or did they both get a chance to do it? Like, you can complain about Yankee Stadium all you want, but you get to hit there too. Bobby Witt's home run is an out at Kauffman Stadium. Or maybe it's a line drive enough that it's over the guy's head and lands at the warning track and skips up against the wall, and it's a double because it's to left field. But it's not a home run at Kauffman Stadium. And I know that the home run report, is out there and has only one of those home runs for the Yankees being a home run at Kauffman Stadium. But I question the home run report when Jazz Chisholm's hit in right center was 411. And it says it's not a home run at Kauffman Stadium?
Yeah.
Kauffman at right center is 387. How is 411 not a home run at Kauffman Stadium? How is it not a home run at the K? Trent Grisham, directly right field, was 384. It's 387 in right center.
Yeah.
It's not 384 to the bullpen would be a home run. Ben Rice, same thing, 381. Well, actually, you know what? Trent Grisham's was a home run. Trent Grisham's was sorry, but here's the interesting part. Trent Grisham and Ben Rice. Grisham 384 home run. Ben Rice 381 not a home run. Into the bullpen and what would be the bullpen into right field for at the K. Again, whether that matters, Austin Wells was not a home run at the K.
Sure, yeah, it was 360 or something.
It's more than likely foul.
Yeah,
because it went at 314, 315 down the right field line. It curled right around the foul pole. So it's probably foul when you got 330. Or it's off the wall, and it's a double. Renfroe plays it into a triple, let's be honest. Sorry. So that's the one that wasn't a home run. But Bobby's wasn't either. So of the 5 home runs, I think 3 of them were home runs at the K. And 2 of them were one of them was maybe foul / a double. I'd say more foul than a double. I'd say probably 70-30 it's foul. And Bobby's was probably a double and a line drive over the left fielder unless he was playing deep for Bobby and not giving up extra base hits and willing to come in as opposed to having to turn your hips and run for a line drive from Bobby. Depending on placement, I don't know where that if that would have been an out. I'll give Bobby benefit of the doubt because he hit a line drive there. But the Royals only have 2 hits last night. It ain't the stadium. They gave up 4 runs, Lugo did. 4 solo shots. That sucks. But it's not all the stadium. It's also elevating pitches. It's also missing your spots. And it's Seth Lugo, for some reason, Sterling, this year, like his profile early on in the year from balls hit in the air, which counts for fly balls, line drives, and pop-ups. So you can break them down into 3 categories, but the overall category of just air and ground ball. Last year with the Royals, ground ball percentage was at 45%. In the air was 55, obviously. This year, the ground ball percentage is down to 38, and in the air is 62. I mean, that's a 7% swing both ways. That's 14% now.
Yeah.
That it's gone both ways to more fly balls than ground balls from last year. And 45% ain't exactly, John Schreiber.
Sure.
It ain't exactly Schreiber out there as a ground ball pitcher at 45% for Lugo. So he's not out there just throwing ground balls all the time last year. Now all of a sudden they're fly balls. No, he was 45, 55. So there were more fly balls than there were ground balls for Seth Lugo. This year it's been even more exaggerated. And at Yankee Stadium, that might get you. At least on one of them, it got him being at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, that was just, again, all the people can complain all you want about Yankee Stadium, but the Royals played there too.
Yeah.
You have Massey, you have Vinny, you have India, you have Salvi. Again, you mentioned Bobby's on a 7-game hit streak. That's great. Everyone else in the lineup last night's now looking to go on a 1-game hit streak starting tonight.
That'd be nice.
So they have that.
That's a great point. Everybody is on a 0-game hitting streak right now.
The Royals have 2 guys, based on last night at least, 2 guys with an on-base percentage over 300. The Yankees have 4 guys with an on-base percentage over 400.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Not 300. 4 guys over 400 on-base percentage for the Yankees. Royals with 2. If you go to 210 batting average, you have Bobby, you have Kyle, and Michael.
Yeah. Because Vinny's at 207, Salvi at 203.
India should not go without any sort of, I feel like he's skating by because 328 on-base percentage, that's nice. I get it. That gives you a floor. He's also slugging 250.
Yeah, you're right.
He's batting 196.
Yeah.
And
it's not what they brought him over to do.
No.
Getting on base is part of it. But
That's
they didn't
the majority of it.
But they didn't bring him over just to draw a walk.
And the defense has been not great overall for India. At third, left field, I'll give him a pass on. But at third even, not been great. Vinny has just really struggled. Same thing with Salvio. I don't want to beat a dead horse here. But Bobby, to an extent, I don't want to try and put too much more on his plate because he is batting 317, 397, slugging 508. It's been great. And I'm glad I looked this up, though, because I go, it does feel like when there's runners in scoring position or on base, he's really struggled. With the runners in scoring position, Bobby is batting 222, slugging 278. With no runners in scoring position, it's 371, on base 450, slugging 657 for an OPS of over 1100.
We'll ask Les Norman about that. Is that him just trying to do too much?
Because again, I'm not trying to say Bobby's.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Bobby's the issue, but I'm saying
Why are you blaming Bobby?
I have
for
noticed
the offense. That's weird.
that like if India's on second,
Yeah.
if Isbell gets to second, Bobby comes up. It's more or less an out or at least a weak ball. I don't know if it's mental or what, but a 626 OPS.
Yeah.
Versus when no one's in scoring position, over 1100 OPS. I mean, that is just it's drastic. It's a different player.
Let's hear from Bobby Witt from last night then, because he was asked about what Carlos Carrasco was doing to be effective, and also weighing in on overall what's going on with this offense.
I say just mixing some pitches up, and then just kind of hitting a couple balls at people, and then just not. I don't know. Yeah.
On your 10-pitch bat, what was your kind of thought process as you're going through that and to be able to get a pitch to your liking and hit the home run there?
Yeah, just seeing all the pitches, just being able to get ready and get on time. Missed a couple other good pitches, but then able to kind of get one out in front.
How concerned are you about the offense? I look at today, for example, after your home run, you only collected 1 hit. Overall, it's off to a slow start. I'm just wondering, how concerned are you about the offense?
Not concerned at all. I know what we're capable of doing. I know what we can do, and it's just a matter of time. We just got to keep preparing and getting better every day, and that's what we're going to continue doing. And so, there's no concern at all because I know what we can do in here, and it's just a matter of time.
When you're facing a team like the Yankees, given what you guys faced against them in the playoffs last year, how much fun was it to come back out here and then try to just play against these guys that you know you might see again later on?
Yeah, anytime you come into an environment like this, it's great. Just the atmosphere is great, and it's just one of those where you kind of just want to go out there and win. And so anytime you come out here, a win feels so much better. And so, definitely just it's always good to feel and be out here, but also you want to win.
I don't know what he was going to say at the beginning there when he was asked about Carlos Carrasco, and he said, just mixing up pitches and, hitting it at guys and just not Yeah. I don't. If he stopped himself from and just not what? I don't know. Like what was. I don't want to fill in the blank there, but I do wonder where he might have gone when he stopped himself. Like, did he stop himself because he was about to say something about particular at bats, or what guys are doing in an at bat versus what he's doing, or saying something that would sound like he's calling somebody out, and he's never going to do that. But it's like, well, he was mixing up pitches, hitting it right at guys, and just not. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Just kind of hitting a couple balls at people and then just not, I don't know, yeah.
Just not, I ain't going to say that. I don't know. Yeah. He ends a lot of his answers with, yeah, he doesn't elaborate much, but he talks after every single game, so I'll give him that. Young guy that since he's been up as a rookie was like, yeah, I'm at my locker in the clubhouse. I'm ready to talk. So it's what a leader does. But and he's not going to say, well, there's an issue with the offense. That, no, I trust the guys in here. I trust what's going to happen. I know how good we are, and we're going to get it figured out. They're under 500. They're 2.5 games back. And the question becomes, how long do you go down this path offensively before you try to find answers to what is happening right now? Drew Waters coming up. It's an option, but is it an answer? No. It's an option. It gives you better defense when he's out there.
Should.
Should, but it's better overall play from Hunter Renfroe, but it's not better on the offensive end for Hunter Renfroe. Like trading Brady Singer for Jonathan India, like we can criticize that trade for what Jonathan India is doing right now. But Brady Singer doesn't really help the club. Because he can't hit. Like, Brady Singer's not the one. They didn't trade an offensive guy for a pitcher, and you're like, oh, man. For a bullpen piece, and like, oh, man, why didn't you just believe in Daniel Lynch? If you just believe it, now you got this other bullpen piece, and you lost a guy in the middle of your lineup or the top of your lineup that was pretty good, and now look at the lineup struggling, and you already had good bullpen pieces. What are you doing? They tried to help out the offense. Did they do it incorrectly? Did they go for the wrong player? Was he the best they could get for Brady Singer? Because everybody always overvalues your own piece. But, like, he's not doing his job right now enough at the top of the lineup. He's walking. But you can't have, a 200 slugging percentage anywhere in the lineup.
Yeah, 250. I mean, if you look at the Yankees lineup compared to the Royals, I know money, I get it, and all that stuff. They built it for their stadium too, with Wells and Rice,
but that's the problem with when they're struggling pitching, and their offense is performing the way that it is, and you get 2 hits against the struggling pitching staff.
Yeah,
that's embarrassing.
Well,
quite frankly.
And the trades and the veterans that the Yankees went after have hit. Goldschmidt so far has hit. Jazz, the trade has hit. Yeah. Trent Grisham has hit.
Austin
Cody
Wells.
Bellinger has not. Cody Bellinger has been the outlier of that one. But right now for the Royals, India has not hit. Kevin Biggio, I know it's different, but Hunter Renfroe still, I think, goes in the category of a free agent signing. Has not hit since he got to Case. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. The veteran signings for the Yankees have worked. The trades and veteran signings for the Royals have not. I'm doing it.
What are you doing it?
I'm doing it.
What are you going to?
We're adding a scoop.
Stamp?
No, we're adding a scoop.
Oh no, it's
the offense is now.
Isn't it too early?
Is it too early?
It's only 17 games in. Can you add a scoop 17 games in?
Dylan,
I don't know. It's your scoops.
Do we have to wait?
Those are your scoops.
To add the third scoop.
He's right. It is your grading scale.
Yeah, I don't want to influence you either way.
This would be the earliest I feel like that it has ever been handed out. I
Probably,
feel like
this would be the
I
earliest.
feel like May is like the middle of May is when the third scoop comes out. I don't know.
All right, I'll give it 2 more days in New York.
Give it.
I'll give 20 to 20. The offense still right now is 2 scoops of ass. They're not quite getting the third yet, but they're close.
But I will tell you this: the scooper, the ladle, whatever, it's in.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's in there.
I was about to say. I stopped myself.
I got there right. Oh,
it is in the. bucket
There we go.
to scoop out and to add it. We'll take a timeout before we get ourselves in trouble. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. This Tuesday edition of The Zone. We head up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Les Norman coming up at noon. There's been some question. There are at least some people asking some questions and wondering about Alex Zumwalt and the hitting coach. Because if we continue to credit the pitching coaches and Sweeney for what he's done in developing that, then likewise we also have some questions for Alex Zumwalt. I've given him credit for Michael Garcia. We'll see how long that lasts. I do believe there's more there than just a hot start like he had last year. I'm hoping that that's the case. I'm concerned it may not be the case, but I'm hoping it's the case. Okay. So I don't know. But is this an Alex Zumwalt question? Like, is it an Andy Heck question, or is it a talent question? Is Andy Heck good at coaching guys who are already talented and not coaching up other guys? And it's like, well, yeah, you got Creed Humphrey. Well, maybe Creed Humphrey was just simply the best center in the draft, and he was misevaluated by the teams that took 3 centers in front of him. Yeah. Or 2 centers in front of him, whatever it was. I think 2 or 3.
I think he was the third.
Yeah, he was the third. That's right. And then Trey Smith, misevaluated in terms of his health. As then he comes out later and was like, well, actually, we found out it was a misdiagnosis. Cost him a lot of money. Good for him in busting his ass for 4 years and now earning $24 million this year that he'll make. Either he's going to make $24 million on the franchise tag, or he's going to sign a contract that guaranteed dollars are going to be more than $24 million. So the guy's going to make $24 million, at least in his career, as a guy who was a 6th-round guard. But was he a 6th-round guard? He was viewed as maybe the best guard in the draft, except for, blood clots in your lungs. Okay, so maybe it was a misdiagnosis that was there. Jawan Taylor brought in. Joe Tooney brought in. Okay, so we've had questions about Andy Heck on the football side. And Alex Zumwalt, last year, how much better did the offense get? This was a team that their chase rate last year was 7th in baseball, the 7th highest chase rate.
So then 23rd best.
Yeah, you're right. Right.
7th worst. 24th best. Yeah, okay, 7th worst. Okay.
7th worst. Yeah,
I got excited for a second. I was like,
yeah.
I don't know, but wow.
Yeah. 32 football, 30. It's always fun. 32 football, 30 in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
It's just make everything universal. Why can't we all have the same number of teams?
Add 2 teams or okay, Panthers, you're no longer a team. Sorry, Panthers, you're gone.
Jags, sorry about that.
Jags, you're
got to have one from each. So now we have to redo divisions.
You're England's team, isn't it?
It's a whole thing. It's this whole big crazy thing, But last year, 7th highest in swing percentage outside, or chase rate, I should say. This year, they're 3rd. They've gotten worse. They've gone from 30.3% up to 31.1%. They've moved from 7th to 3rd in chasing pitches outside the zone. Isn't that something you would work on? Is seeing the series against the Yankees and us going, good God, it is so annoying to watch the Yankees just spit on pitches that are right off the plate and take walks. And work the count to where they get a pitch to hit that's more available for them to crush the hard hit percentage for the Yankees, while the Royals were swinging at 2-0 pitches outside the zone, or 1-0 pitches outside the zone, or your first swing. Your first swing should be damage. If you don't have a strike and your first swing is not something you could do damage on, then what are you doing? Even little kids, we teach that. Hey, man, first pitch, if you can do damage on it, swing. But if it's 1-0 or 2-0 and you don't have a strike, now 3-0, we're going to approach that a little bit differently. But 1-0 or 2-0 and you don't have a strike, your first swing can't be something at your eyes. It can't be something at your feet. And if they call it a strike, they call it a strike, and now you battle. Now you get in there, and now you understand where the strike zone is. But your first swing can't be something weakly and meekly hit just because you want to swing and hit the ball.
Hey, there's Royals' thought process. Hey, slider low and in, might hit you in the shins, 0-0 count. You better be swinging.
Slider low and in, might hit you in the shin.
If you can roll over and hit a weak grounder to second base, you do it. You take that opportunity.
You know where the Yankees rank in chase percentage this year?
Oh, probably third best, second best,
Keep going.
first best.
Yes, first best.
I would say
They are first best.
You have Goldschmidt, you have Judge, you have Rice, who takes a lot of walks.
You know where they were last year in chase
I
percentage?
just assume about first.
First best as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
First best. They ranked 30th last year in chase percentage, and they ranked 30th this year in chase percentage.
Well, what's sad is the Royals have actually, even with India, I bet India's actually bolstered the numbers in a positive manner for KC. Kevin Biggio, again, for as bad as he's been, at least he traditionally doesn't swing at bad pitches, and he really hasn't this year as well. But that just goes to show you how poor the rest of the team has done. We know Salvi, we know Bobby, but I think, again, the disappointment somewhat lies in someone like Vinny or a Michael Massey, who Michael Massey, if I'm not mistaken, used to walk a lot early on in the minors, and then it just dissipated from his game. We know Michael Garcia doesn't do that, but still, it's just a plethora of guys. Like Kyle Isabella's had a really nice year, so I'm not trying to pick on him, because if you told me this is what he could do all season long, I'd take it.
You'd settle out of court, you would.
But he's batting.
I know you would.
He's batting 268, on base 286. I know he had a home run. He has a couple of nice hard hit balls, but traditionally speaking, that's not his game. Kyle swings at so many bad pitches for a guy that's not a great hitter. Like, if you're not a great hitter, why would you not try and see as many pitches as possible? Why would you not try and put some pressure on the pitcher to force and make you, because they're not going to walk you. They don't want to walk you. If you can get to a 2-2 count, I can almost guarantee you're going to see a fastball. They don't want to get to 3-2. You're the number 9 hitter. You're the number 8 hitter. You're batting 192. If you're Kevin Biggio, they're going to throw you strikes.
That's right.
Like, they're not trying to pitch around you.
Because I ain't throwing I'm not throwing a strike to Salvi, and I'm not throwing a strike to Kevin Biggio. Or right now, Drew Waters, or
Michael Massey, or
Jonathan India.
Or anyone. I'm angry right now.
Or anyone.
I'm angry right now. I'm heated. Vinny's swinging outside the zone. Second baseman, if you're a worm in between the pitcher's mound and the second baseman in the dirt,
watch out.
Those worms are getting burnt.
Don't try to grow the grass right there. It's not going to work.
And I believe Vinny's going to figure it out, and I believe Michael Massey's going to figure it out. And it's a rough part right here, and it's just. And I know they're more frustrated than we are. I get that. I can't imagine the frustration going through their minds right now. But at the same point, you got to adjust. You got to change. I mean, the Yankees scored 4 runs in New York. If you think you hold the Yankees to 4 runs in that ballpark, you think you have a good shot.
4 solo home, like 4 swings of the bat too, not like a big inning,
right?
Bunch of different hits. Like, it feels like the Royals, from my point of view, are working backwards in the sense that when they get their pitch, they're trying to do maximum damage instead of just taking a nice swing, trying to get on base, hit for average, and letting the home runs come when they do. Because we don't play that way. We've never won that way. The only way we win is by trying to hit for average and letting the home runs come when they can. I looked it up in 2015. We're the 27th ranked team with home runs. Numbers are pretty much the same. Leader is 240-ish, and like same thing last year. We were a little bit better. But it's like, that's not how we win or how we win baseball games.
Well, in 2014, 15, 16, around that run, like, I think they ranked either 29th or 30th in walk percentage and like 29th or 30th in strikeout percentage. They put the ball in play. Yeah. It's what they did. They put the ball in play. You pass the baton, all of that stuff. They weren't taking walks. They weren't really striking out. And like this year, like the Yankees chase percentage, they're 30th. Hard hit percentage, they're 4th in Major League Baseball. Like, I mean, Arizona is number 2 in hard hit percentage and number 25 in chase rate. The outlier is Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is number 1 in hard hit percentage and like number 8 in chase rate. They're chasing and they're also hitting line drives.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. But the Royals, by the way, 3rd in chase percentage and they're 25th in hard hit percentage. I don't think that's some sort of anomaly. Like if you're chasing pitches outside the zone, especially when the Royals are number 2 or 3 at contact percentage outside the zone. Okay, so if you're swinging and contacting pitches outside the zone, how often are you going to hit a line drive? How often are you going to have a hard hit pitch? How often are you going to barrel that? Sweet spot, barreled, line drive. If you're chasing and contacting pitches outside the zone, you're not.
But by the way, with the 2015, 'cause I think that was an important thing to note there, Dylan. Okay, they swung at a lot of bad pitches. They did not walk, but they batted 260, 297, 257, 284, 271, 307, 255, 290. Omar with 220.
Because they were chasing. They weren't chasing. They were hitting. Remember, the whole deal was the Royals don't miss fastballs. If you throw the Royals a fastball in the strike zone, they're going to hit it and do not damage as far as home runs go. They're just going to keep the line moving and make your pitchers pitch in stressful situations.
The average and the slug, because they hit a ton of doubles that season, is the reason why. They also had 3 Gold Glovers, and none of those 3 Gold Glovers were Alex Gordon or Lorenzo Cain. They had 5 elite defenders that season. Yeah. That's the difference. As bad as Alex Rios kind of was overall, based on some of the numbers, they had 1 guy. The Royals right now have 4 guys,
and
5
he was
guys.
Still your 9-hitter.
Yes.
Rios was the 9-hitter that year.
Yeah.
Again, maybe it's unfair to compare him to a World Series team, but expectations were you went to the ALCS last year. Isn't that kind of expectations this year?
DS.
ALDS, sorry.
Yeah, you're fine.
But I
was going to say, where was I?
No, but isn't ALDS at least kind of the thought process this
I'd
year?
say playoffs.
Playoffs.
I think once this team gets in the playoffs, getting by the wild card,
fair.
It can be, because if they win the division,
then
they're the third, division, then they're going to host a wild card, and then it's small sample size. Sterling, you got the cup in your hand.
A little bit left. So playoffs, yes.
Go ahead and chug it. Chug it.
Point remains. I'm already irritated. I don't need more coffee. I do need more coffee. But the point remains. It's just the frustration of watching this team based on expectations. If this was last year, we probably don't have the same vitriol because they're 8-9. We would say, wow, they're
competing.
They're competing. But expectations change, and they're 8-9, and you don't want to have the bottom fall out again early in the season and just be a total letdown where you're sitting here at 12-20 heading into May, and you're just sitting here going, well, is the season already over?
Yeah, because the old adage in baseball, as we all know, you can't win the division in April, but you can certainly lose one in April. Text comes in and says, why does Sterling hate Bobby?
I love Bobby. Bobby baseball.
Text says, we've heard of the Mendoza line. May I introduce the Melendez line?
What's that, 100?
I love that.
It's got to be 100. Yeah.
100. Isn't it 97 right now, I think?
Yeah.
So the Millet. You know what? Caller or texter.
Great
love
point.
that.
Text says, swinging at balls while watching strikes, not a good recipe for success. I agree with that. That's absolutely
That's
right.
the Antonio Pierce recipe.
Yes. Text says, the only pitch the Royals won't swing at is the first pitch meet down the middle. Can't believe how many times they're 0-1 with their bat on the shoulders. The other team takes the pitch the other way. Yeah, I mean, again, it was the first inning, and I thought, okay, so the offense is going to look good. Carrasco, they're walking, they're taking some pitches, they didn't get hits, they had 2 walks, but this could be the day that they sort of break out. Let's put some runs up there with Seth Lugo. And the last time Seth Lugo was in Yankee Stadium, he had the 7 innings, no earned runs, and 10 Ks. It was that how many times a visiting pitcher win at least 7 in Yankee Stadium with no walks and 10 Ks. It was. I remember talking about that at the time with Seth Lugo. So it's not like he went to Yankee Stadium. It's like, oh my God, look at the how short the outfield is. Oh, I'm psyching myself out. I mean, he went there last year with the team that played in the World Series eventually. 10 Ks, no walks, 7 innings. I mean, he shut him down when he was there. So it wasn't a, psych yourself out. He's never pitched in that spot before. But it is frustrating when, I understand from Salvi's perspective, all right, there's been 2 walks and Bobby popped up. All right, I'm not going to swing early on, and I'm going to let this guy continue to walk me. Strike right down the middle. Okay, well, he's throwing strikes now, so I better start swinging. But it is Salvi. I don't know. I don't know that it's certainly not the, well, you got to make a move at hitting coach for Alex Zimmerman. It's not that.
No.
But as much as we say Renfroe this early on is also a carryover from last year, that it's not just Well, it's only 17 games for Renfro. No, it's 17 games in the 2024 season for Renfro. There's that adds that's part of it.
It's 150 games or so.
Yeah. And this is not just simply like, hey, this is it's only 17 games where the Royals are chasing that many pitches and the hard hit percentage is not that good. Well, no, it's last year too. And this year. But there will be some questions if this continues. Other part would be, is this just a personnel issue? And no matter who the hitting coach is, that you're going to have guys that's their profile as a hitter. They're free swingers. And can you teach plate discipline? Can you teach a great eye at the plate? Or is that just natural, instinctual in baseball and being able to recognize? Like Jonathan India is really good at recognizing early on what's going to be a ball and what's going to be a strike. He's got that talent. But when it is a strike and he's swinging, he's just not doing much with it, unfortunately. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. 913-912-4810. Text says, is it Q's or the batting coach's philosophy to take the first pitch? Doubt it, but just curious if there are any stats there. I'd have to go back and look at the first pitch swing rate for the Royals and how it compares to some of the other teams. I did not do that this morning. So maybe I'll... Or Sterling, maybe you can find that while I'm talking some football with Adam Teicher. What about that? You ever think of that, Stan? Text says the Royals as a team are a result of a poor offseason from general management. I mean, you deal with the resources you have. People can be tired of the, conversation around it, the excuses around it, whatever. I love the trade of Singer for Jonathan India, but they need to figure out the outfield soon. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, heading up until 2 o'clock. Let's talk some NFL football. Adam Teicher from ESPN, our Chiefs insider, joining us here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Adam, welcome into the show. How are you, sir?
Good, Jason. How are you doing today?
I am doing just fine. Looking forward to talking some football. 9 days away from the NFL draft and finding out who the Chiefs take on that Thursday night, if they take anybody on that Thursday night. Adam, I know you're not a huge fan of studying and looking at and perusing and making sure you're up to date and keeping track of all of the mock drafts out there, because there aren't many. I don't know if you knew this, but not many mock drafts around this time. Nobody really does them. It's weird.
Besides my mock draft 10.7.
That's right,
so
10.7. It's not
coming
just a
out here
10.0
on Friday.
Does that make it 107?
Well, that's the mystery.
1.1, 1.2. Why don't you just call it 2, 3, 4? Because you know what? You don't want to say mock draft 100.7. No, it's just mock draft 10.7. But Adam, is there, in your time doing this, and with the popularity of the draft and the mock drafts and everything, is there a value in looking at maybe the collective as a whole and keeping track of what seems to be, if there's a theme or something like that, with different national people in their mock drafts of who they have going to the Chiefs, a name or a positional group?
Yeah, well, there's some value in following those. There's no doubt. I mean, and hey, you can look at a lot of years, and it hasn't been anywhere close, right? I mean, so, some years it maybe has more value than others, and I guess we'll know when this one's over whether, how much value this year's had. But sure, I mean, I think there is. I mean, hey, we all talk to, those of us who cover the team talk to people who are going to be in the draft room, and there's, and we all study the roster and know where their, shortcomings are. But, there are other things to consider here. And some of them is hey, what the roster is going to look like beyond this year. And I think people discount that sometimes when they start looking at drafts and doing mock drafts is well, it's just, let's just fill a need right now. Well, no, that's not how you get to the Super Bowl so many times in a short period of time. It's not by that sort of, looking at the draft as a one-year thing. It's really not. And so I think there's more value in looking down the road a little bit and seeing where they might have some holes rather than just looking at what they need in 2025.
I compared a little bit to the Kentucky Derby analysis leading up to it, because you've got the experts that have been watching all the lead up races and those that are qualifying for the Derby and the prep races and everything, and then you get there that week and there's 20 horses and who knows what's going to happen. It's why the payouts are so mammoth with the Derby, and you look back, you're like, oh man, this guy had the trifecta right. Oh, this guy nailed it, right? But it's like, okay, but that was like 10% of the people out there. There are a bunch of other, analysts that got it wrong, and this horse just didn't fire, and this horse got bumped off its spot. And like, there's so many things that happen along the way that you can't predict, just as in the draft to a degree. Like, you can't predict trade ups and trade backs, and this player that this team had much higher than this other player. But we can look back and go, oh man, that guy nailed it. Like, he knew that was, he nailed, that was the pick. When it works out. Like last year, for instance, Adam, I dismissed because I thought it was too easy and too quickly of connecting the dots when Xavier Worthy ran, the 4.2 40-yard dash, and it was like all of a sudden we saw all these mock drafts of Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs. I'm like, I think that's a little too quick. I think it's a little too obvious, a little too easy. Like, it's not like they're Al Davis where just give me speed and run fast and it doesn't really matter about anything else. But as we look back, like, that was something. And so maybe it was me, Adam, looking at it and not taking into account enough of maybe some questions about Rashee Rice, the fact that they needed to get faster and they brought in Mecole Hardman middle season for a reason, that they needed that particular element, and he added to that. But those that were immediately connecting the Chiefs and Xavier Worthy, they ended up being right. And so I think there's something to that, but there's a little bit, Adam, of the post-draft analysis going back and going, oh, yeah, this guy got it right and that guy got it right, just as I would do with the Derby when there's so much of an unknown that'll take place.
Yeah, it's there's a lot out there, and sometimes it's more of a there's some. This is what I know about the Chiefs this year and going into the draft, and they've this inability to solve the left tackle thing for them has been a real frustration. I mean, they took a number of swings at it right over the years since Eric Fisher left with Orlando Brown and trying to get Trent Williams. And then 1 year with Donovan Smith, they knew that wasn't going to be the long-term thing, but they felt like that was the best way to get through a season. And then that now more recently they've drafted a couple guys and Suamataia and Wanya Morris, and they haven't worked out. And now they've tried it again with Jalen Moore, and who knows how that one's going to work out. And I think you can tell by the contract they signed Jalen Moore to that they're not sure that he's going to be the long-term solution at left tackle. They hope he could be, but this is a long-winded way of saying that I think if they feel like at any point in the draft, particularly in the first or second round, that if they feel again like they can solve this long term, that there's a guy there, whether it's Josh Simmons or Connerly or whoever it might be, if they feel like that's the guy who can solve this long term or be part of the solution, then I think they would go ahead and do that. I mean, I feel pretty strong in that belief, but. And part of that is what else is available at other positions. Is there a great somebody they feel like is a great defensive tackle who's there? So sometimes it comes down to making a decision of who you like better. But I think the overriding theme, if you will, of the early rounds of this draft for the Chiefs is trying to solve that left tackle thing for the long term. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to take a swing regardless of who the player is and how much they like him. I don't feel like they'll do that. But I feel like if it's a player there who really feel like can do that, I feel pretty strongly they'll go ahead and make that pick.
Well, it's interesting you talk about, looking ahead at the roster, that it's not just a one-year thing. And I think that's where, we can look at it and go, well, left tackle, left tackle, left tackle. They need a left tackle. They need somebody to play left tackle for this team. And defensive tackles talked about, like, they got to have somebody that you can put next to Chris Jones. Those are two of the most popular positional groups that are out there. It's like, 50%, I think, of all of the mock drafts have the Chiefs taking a tackle or a defensive tackle. So it's that's the main part. And then, you've got edge rusher and then guard. So you're looking at like 70, 80% of all mock drafts have the Chiefs taking offensive line or defensive line, which, by the way, that's what a lot of teams take anyway, is the line of scrimmage. But to your point of looking ahead, we're all in agreement, really, that this is the last year for Jawaan Taylor. So, I know that people have dismissed, like, maybe nationally, it's like Ariante Ursary from Minnesota, local guy. It's like, well, yeah, but he's a right tackle, so the Chiefs wouldn't take him. Well, if the Chiefs believe that Jalen Moore is somebody that they will develop and that they have a left tackle, they've got Jawaan Taylor for 1 year. Why wouldn't they take a right tackle that you'd bring in and he could be a swing tackle for a year? Or you just simply say, this is our guy for the 3 years after Jawaan Taylor is done. And also, if Jawaan Taylor gets hurt, this guy's, ready to step in at right tackle. I think the tackles that are viewed as they're going to be specifically and almost strictly on the right side are not being connected to the Chiefs, but Jawaan Taylor only has 1 year left. And next year in the draft, there would be nobody hesitating to go, well, they're going to draft a right tackle.
Yeah, and so they might go ahead if there's a guy who's there, who they like, and they feel like, maybe could be a swing tackle as a rookie and then step into the starting lineup next year. I don't think they'd hesitate to do that, So it's I think there are a lot of things on the board for the Chiefs this year, and as there usually is when you're picking 31st, when you're picking so late in the round. But I feel like that part is always overlooked when the future needs is always overlooked when a team goes into a draft. I guarantee you the Chiefs aren't ignoring that. I know that much.
For sure. Adam Teicher's our guest from ESPN. Do you get much out of the names that come out of the top 30 visits for the Chiefs?
There's a lot of times there's different reasons for a guy visiting in the top 30, and for instance, Josh Simmons. I mean, that's all medical, right? I mean, they want to get their own doctors and get their own look at his knee and see where he is and how they feel about that, and so a lot of times that's what those 30 visits are all about. I mean, they're basically answering things trying to answer things they just don't know about the guy, whether it's medical or something else. There's a lot of reasons why they might bring a guy in, but generally it's trying to solve the last piece of the puzzle. And a lot of times that is medical with guys. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think they throw a lot of smoke screens. I don't think they bring in guys just to throw other teams off or anything like that. I don't know who would look at a list of 30 and say, oh, yeah, the Chiefs are really interested in all 30 of these guys. I mean, I don't know that, that throws people off anymore. Maybe once upon a time it did, but I think now it's more about really a fact-finding thing. They want to know about one last thing. What do they not know about this person? And again, a lot of times it's just how's their knee or their shoulder or whatever it might be.
Some of the reporting also was like looking back to George Pickens when they had him in. It was like, hey, they're bringing in George Pickens on a top 30 visit. And some of the reporting is that, well, they brought him in just to make sure they were right to not have him on their board.
You bring him in and you look him in the eye and you ask him a few questions. And that they've done that with many guys, over the years, that they just, hey, we want to hear your answers to these questions when it's just you and us sitting in a room. So, yeah, there is something to that, no doubt.
Visiting with Adam Teicher from ESPN. He is our guest. Brett Veach will talk on Thursday. He's typically pretty candid. I'll give him that. I mean, he's for a general manager. I feel like we do get some information and things from Brett Veach from time to time. Is there anything you're expecting to hear, or wanting to ask, or wanting to get an answer to from Brett Veach on Thursday in his pre-draft press conference?
Yeah, I'm going to ask him how he sees what they liked and how they see these guys fitting in their top free agent additions, because we really haven't heard that from him yet. And I'm mostly talking about Jalen Moore and Elijah Mitchell and Christian Fulton here, and how those guys fit in and what they liked about them, because a lot of times that can tell you a few things about maybe their draft plans as well. How he feels about a guy might dictate that. So I'm more curious about what he's already done in that regard. What do you like about these guys? How you see them fitting in? That kind of thing. That's what I want to know first and foremost from him on Thursday.
Visiting with Adam Teicher from ESPN, is there a concern, Adam, of I'm going to use the term here, and it's not to disrespect or downgrade anybody that's in the Chiefs front office right now, but a concern of the brain drain when it comes to the draft, and that is, again, not to take a shot at Mike Bradway or Tim Terry or Ryan Nutt or Henson or Sperduto, nothing along those lines. But in the last 4 drafts, Adam, Ryan Poles, Brant Tillis, Mike Borgonzi, Trey Koziel, those guys have all gone elsewhere. Like the 2021 draft included Poles and Tillis and Borgonzi. Chris Shea is still there, but you had Veach and those 3 other guys, and Koziel leaves for the Bears with Ryan Poles. So you had a number of guys there that were in that room in 2021 that just simply aren't there anymore, and they haven't really replaced those guys. Like Brant Tillis's job title was never really replaced. It was just somebody else takes on that role that was already on the staff. Borgonzi, same thing, like assistant GM. They haven't then hired an assistant GM or promoted somebody to now you're the assistant GM. They just didn't fill that role. It's just that was the role that Mike Borgonzi had. And again, Bradway and Terry and those guys have been around. They were on that staff in 2021. They've just taken on more responsibility. Is there a concern of the last 4 drafts you've lost guys, Poles, Tillis, and Borgonzi?
Sure. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt there. There's at some point that's going to hurt the operation, I would think. But the one thing about Brett Veach, he's anticipated a lot of this, what's gone on here. I mean, they thought maybe Borgonzi was going to be gone a year or two earlier than he was,
Yeah.
So they've sort of been preparing for this in terms of how they, what their plans would be and how they handle a draft and all that. So it's not like this stuff has just come out of the blue and they've got a cover for it all of a sudden. I mean, they have a succession plan for a lot of guys in that organization, and so I feel like as long as the coaching staff, the stability on the coaching staff helps that. I mean, that's a big thing here for the Chiefs. They know or should know at this point really well what the coaches want on both sides of the ball. So I think that part of it really helps. When they lose a guy, it's not necessarily as big a deal as it might have been, because then you're not scrambling on both sides of this thing. So I think that helps as well. But I mean, I think it has that potential, but I don't know that. I feel like they've always been able to come up with an answer for those kinds of things for losing guys.
Yeah, the coaching staff is a good point on the stability there. And while they've lost guys, and as I've mentioned, like they haven't gone out and just replaced it, and so there's a bunch of changeover. Like, in that 2021 draft that I'm looking at, that was the last one with Ryan Poles, and so that, when the guys started getting hired. But Bradway and Terry and Nutt and Henson and Sperduto and Chris Shea, they were all on that staff too. They were all in the room. So there hasn't been a ton of changeover. There has been some continuity with those guys. So it's not like, hey, you're going to bring in this guy who's now your director of football operations and college scouting that has never worked with these guys before and isn't really aware or has to get used to the things that Brett Veach specifically likes in a player or Andy Reid likes in a player. These guys that are a part of the draft in the front office have been around a number of years with Andy and with Brett Veach. So I do think there's some value in that, in sort of promoting from within. But you've passed along 3 GMs that were all in that room, in the draft. So we'll see what happens with that. But again, that's not to take a shot or take away from anything that the other guys bring to the table. It's just you lose some guys that go on to be a GM somewhere. Like, those are other guys in the room that might offer a counter to Brett Veach and maybe not just be like, okay, Brett, that's what you say, sounds good. Like, Borgonzi was clearly a guy that if he said, Brett, I need to check you on this, it was probably a give and take, or a Veach, respecting, not that he doesn't, just as an example, of maybe looking at it and go, okay, Mike, why don't you like this player?
No. Well, yeah. Brett Veach, he listens to guys.
Yeah.
That's why guys like working for him. One of the reasons guys like working for him is he'll listen to opinions, and he's open-minded about a lot of stuff in that regard. So I think that's why most of the guys who move on from the Chiefs are going on to clearly a step up.
Yeah,
they're going to a better job rather than taking a lateral move.
Yeah. Visiting with Adam Teicher from ESPN. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I want to talk about a couple of positional groups with Adam and a name that came up in a draft that, or a mock draft that, Adam, I know you've already studied this mock draft, so I'm not going to say anything that you don't already know. But a name that came up that I thought it was an interesting name that I don't see the Chiefs drafting at all for a couple of reasons, and I'll bring those reasons up with Adam Teicher to see, just as a general overarching philosophical view of where the Chiefs are right now. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. there at the at Arrowhead covering the draft together. Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco.
Oh, Randy.
Randy Kovitz.
Randy Kovitz. That was great. Adam Teicher from ESPN is our guest. All right, so NFL.com releases a mock draft. It's just one mock draft, whatever. But they've got Mike Green going to the Chiefs, and he's the defensive end edge rusher from Marshall. A little undersized, and I think there's two things here. One, it's being a little undersized. We know that Steve Spagnuolo is not a fan of, the smaller defensive ends. He wants the bigger, powerful guys. But the bigger thing here, Adam, that I wonder if the Chiefs are in a position to draft is Mike Green. Most of his combine was answering questions about why he was kicked out of Virginia Tech, or Virginia, I mean. Why he didn't stay there as the allegations of sexual assault, one of the reasons why he's not at that school. And I just wonder, Adam, are the Chiefs in a position with Rashee Rice, Xavier, were the allegations true or not? All of those things have been out there. Are the Chiefs in a position to take somebody that has the off-the-field issues and is going to be answering questions in his first press conference with whatever team he goes to about, why he didn't stay at his original school and the allegations that are there surrounding him?
Yeah, listen, in his case, I don't know what happened there or didn't happen there, but that's always a tough thing in my opinion, and I don't know what his guilt was or wasn't, what his guilt wasn't in that matter, so you'd hate to stay away from a guy just because of allegations, but I just always think that's a tough position to put the kid in, to put the community in. It's a bad look all the way around a lot of times, whether it's any fault to the kid or not. So I don't think so, but that doesn't mean necessarily the Chiefs agree with that.
Yeah, and again, I don't know all of the specific details of covering it at the time, other than he was suspended and then he transferred. And then at the combine said that, he's like, look, there are allegations, multiple allegations, and said that he's like, I've never been questioned. Nobody's ever asked me anything about him. There's allegations out there, never been questioned by anybody about that. And yet, so I transferred to Marshall, and this is what's going on. Yeah, those things are out there, and I'm not going to hide from them, but I'm also telling you this is what's happened. Nobody's ever confronted me or talked to me about those allegations that are out there. I've simply lived my life. But, anonymous reports and things like that were going on. So who knows, with that. I just wonder if the Chiefs are in a position at this point to be like, let's take a guy that maybe has a questionable past that maybe we know or don't know about that may have taken place. Like, again, Rashee Rice, there were some teams that were like, yeah, we're not really drafting him because there are some questions there around Rashee Rice, and that kind of came back to bite him last offseason. Don't know if there was anything like that with Xavier Worthy. Didn't seem to be anything like that. I just wonder if they're in a position at this point to do that, or because the undersized part of it, I don't think they're twofold. One, I don't think they're drafting him anyway because he's an undersized player, even though he's like a top 20 player. So if he's there at 31, you're like, why is this guy that was going to be taken in the top 20 still there at 31? I don't think that's going to be the case. Like Nolan Smith was falling to the Chiefs, and it was like, oh my God, Nolan Smith is almost to the Chiefs. Like, yeah, and Spagnuolo probably doesn't want him, and the Eagles take him. I think the size part of it is there, but I also think the off-the-field questions are there as well.
Yeah, well, the Chiefs, you mentioned Rashee Rice. There have been other guys over the years who, we know the Chiefs have drafted despite some questions. Tyreek Hill, that's going back a few years. And now going back to John Dorsey, Marcus Peters, different issues there, but still these were guys that some other teams at least thought were too hot to handle. So they've done that before.
Yeah, and maybe something that would endear Mike Green to teams is that, from the most part, some of the things coming out of the combine was that in the interviews he was very open about, the allegations that are out there. He wasn't he was just simply saying, look, I'm going to tell him everything that's there, be honest with him. And I think his line was, because I know the truth. There's always three stories, right? Or three sides to a story, but that may help him in the draft process to where it's like, yeah, I'm not going to back away from it. This is what's out there. This is what's being said. This is what I'm telling you of what took place. This is why, I transferred to Marshall. These are the things going on. But it's the first time out of many, Adam, I like looking at mock drafts, many mock drafts that I saw the name Mike Green, and I'm like, He's not going to be there, but I just don't know that the Chiefs would go down that road. Adam Teicher's our guest. Let me ask you this, Adam. 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. There's two prospects there that the Chiefs love equally. One is an offensive tackle. One is a defensive tackle. Doesn't matter the name, just that position. Do you have a preference of what side you would like the Chiefs to go with? If it's everything is the same, we've got them graded absolutely equally. One's an offensive tackle, one's a defensive tackle. Where are you going?
So you're just asking me just straight positional.
Straight positional, not a name or anything. It's just we've got the same exact grade on both these players. One's a defensive tackle, one's an offensive tackle. We got to choose one.
Yeah, either one would be. I'd be fine with either one if I'm the Chiefs in that instance. But to answer your question, they've been trying to solve this left tackle thing for a long time, and if this player they think can do that, I think that's the better way to go. Solve that problem once and for all, and then you've also got Jalen Moore. Maybe you move him to the right side. Maybe if you like him, and he's the eventual replacement for Juwan Taylor. So there's a lot of things you can do, and I think that has to be the priority. Although it's no consolation prize to me if they end up with a quality defensive tackle.
Yeah, I agree. Especially if it's like, look, these guys are even. Would you be somewhat shocked or surprised at all if at number 31 they select a guy that's a guard?
No, I don't think so. I mean, how many positions? 31 is way down in the draft. Yeah. I mean, you're when teams build their boards, generally speaking, in an average year, their teams have, they rate guys. This guy's a first-round grade, second-round grade, third-round grade down the line. Generally speaking, there's not that many first-round grades that the Chiefs will have on a guy. There's maybe 18.
Yeah, I was going to say 18 to like 20, 22, something like that.
Somewhere in that range of guys. So there's a good chance that all those guys are going to be gone when they pick. So, then you're picking from guys who have a second round grade.
Yeah.
And so, no, I don't feel like the Chiefs are so good at any spot other than, let's say, quarterback and also center. They just don't need guys there. I think it would be a waste of time picking players at those positions. But other than that, where are they so good where they can't use a guy to help them out? And guard fits into that right now. I mean, I don't think that's a pressing need. They have some candidates there. They spent on the offensive line between Humphrey and Trey Smith now and Juwan Taylor. They've spent some pretty good money on the offensive line, so spent a lot of resources. That doesn't necessarily, I don't think, have to be a spot where they do it. They have some candidates between Suamataia and Norzad and Caliendo to fill that job. So I feel like they're probably okay there. But if it's a guy that's better than what they have, why not? So I think a defensive back makes a lot of sense for them this year if it's a guy they like in the first round.
Yeah.
I don't think running back is out of the question in terms of drafting a guy. I don't think they will, but I think it's not out of the question that if there's a guy there who can help them, why not? And I don't think wide receiver is a big need, but why not? If you can find a guy, if there's just a guy there you think you're picking at 31, but he's still a first-round grade. So I think this thing, to me, the draft is always more about good players than about positions.
Yeah, and we look back to the draft a few years ago where the Chiefs trade up to number 21 because they're like, yeah, this guy was a first-round grade, and we certainly had him higher than where he was, and there was no reason for him to be there, and there was too much value to trade up. We have all these picks, so let's play the draft board. Yeah, there are 5 positions, Adam, that I'm confident that they will not take in the first round: center, quarterback, long snapper, kicker, and punter. I'm confident that those are 5 positions they will not take in the first round, Adam.
Put me down for $20 on that one too. I'm good on all those too.
Anybody want to take that action? Kicker, punter, long snapper, center, and quarterback. 5 spots.
I think
no
to
chance.
win 20, Adam, we're gonna have to place 2,000 on this.
I think you might have to pay 10,000 to win a buck.
Yeah. What does my $20 win me? A penny?
I think a penny. They're not even making them anymore. It's currency that's not even being made right now. That's right. $20. You still owe them 5. You bet $20 on that. Adam Teicher from ESPN, our guest. Adam, you're the man. Appreciate it. We'll see what Brett Veach has to say on Thursday, and we will talk next week, a couple of days before the NFL draft. Thank you, brother.
All right, good stuff, Jason. Talk to you next week.
Absolutely. There's Adam Teicher from ESPN. Sterling, you pretty confident though? Am I good on those 5 positions that they will absolutely 100% not draft one of those 5 positions?
Kicker, punter,
long snapper,
quarterback,
center.
I
am really confident that they will not take one of those 5. I feel really strong. Like, I think that I would put the Sterling stamp on that. I'm not even Sterling, and I'd put your Sterling. I'd put your stamp on that.
What if they drafted a guy who is listed as a center, but they're going to move to guard? That would count.
Then they would draft a guard. It depends on how they list them.
See, I don't know. Dylan,
they would have to
do I
list
have
them
them on a technicality here?
No,
I feel like that's a legit possibility here.
Here's where I got you. Here's
Team
where
chooses.
Right.
What the position is.
L'Jarius Sneed showed up on the board as safety. The Chiefs listed L'Jarius Sneed cornerback. So,
what was Hunter Norzad when he was drafted? Because he was drafted as a center, right?
It might have been C/G.
Yeah,
might have been.
If I'm not mistaken, I thought he was. I could be wrong.
I think he was, but I do think he was probably a center that they could move to guard, like you were saying. Could
no,
be,
I like
could be
one
one of
your.
those things.
I was laughing. I was like, what if they drafted a quarterback late, just as like a project? Nah, because they got Gardner Minshew now.
You son of a gun.
So
Hunter Norzad was listed as center from Penn State, but I don't know what the Chiefs listed him as when the Chiefs released their. We'll have to look at that. When the Chiefs released their information, their draft guide or whatever after the draft, and that has the list of all the players in their specific positions that are there. I'd have to look it up in the emails that they sent out.
Well, I don't bet. I don't bet. So.
Well, I know that. Yeah, you don't win. I mean, you can bet.
I was trying to do the Dumb and Dumber thing. I thought I tried setting you up.
I can
on
get
the
you
team.
bet. I bet I can get you to bet.
I bet you can't.
I bet I can. Give you 5-1 odds.
No.
10-1 odds.
All right, you're on.
I'm gonna figure it out. I got you. I'm gonna figure out a way to get you betting there.
So they listed him here on their picture gallery. I can't find anything else, but just offensive lineman was how he was listed on ESPN and the Chiefs website. Chiefs select Penn State offensive lineman Hunter Norzad with pick 159.
Okay.
So I don't know if that clears anything up or helps in any way.
I don't know.
Not at all.
It was
no,
a joke.
Just joking.
Yeah,
I'm just joking.
Literally none, Dylan. But I appreciate it. I guess.
How stupid was that? I mean, what a waste of time.
Total waste of time.
I'm looking at opening.
No, but by the way, I
Beach
think you're right. In full transparency, I don't think they would do that because Hunter Norzad is already your backup center.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for that. I do like the thought process of could they take a guard at 31? Because I think that's still in the realm of possibility. If you don't think any of these tackles are legit tackles because of their arm length, then if you can get a stud guard at 31, if you think you can get a great player, even if it's a tackle that you move to guard at 31, I don't hate that thought process because you got right guard, you got left guard, you got some spots to fill.
Chiefs in their official NFL draft packet that was sent out after the draft to the media, 5th round pick number 159, Hunter Norzad, offensive lineman, Penn State.
Yeah. But when
OL
by the
Penn
way,
State.
when I say right guard, it's because you've not extended Trey Smith. So
I agree. Yeah.
So
Kingsley was listed as tackle, by the way. So if it's just like, well, were they all listed as offensive linemen? No, Kingsley was listed as tackle. Norzad and Hansen were listed offensive line.
And there's some here that say Hansen guard, and then it still says Norzad, but that's not the Chiefs one like that.
Right. The Chiefs one has offensive line Norzad, offensive line Hansen, tackle Kingsley Suamataia. But again, like we were saying, center, quarterback, kicker, punter, long snapper, I feel confident.
If the Chiefs draft,
it's the only look, that's the analysis you get right here. Where else you getting that analysis? Come on, man.
If the Chiefs draft a guard at 31, does that tell you something about either A, the Trey Smith contract or lack thereof of an extension, or 2, does it tell you about that maybe their thoughts on Kingsley Suamataia being the potential right tackle of the future?
Second one, for the latter. Or the
I think
rest
there's
of
3.
those guys, too. Norzad and Hansen and everyone else, too.
I think there's 3 possibilities with that. 1, I don't think they would take somebody in the first round just to gain leverage on Trey Smith. They really like Trey Smith. They'd like a long-term deal.
Sure.
But it could be, where they think those negotiations are going. That's one possibility. The other one is what they think about their guard options with Jalen Moore at left tackle, whether that be Kingsley or whoever else. 3, it could be that this guy isn't supposed to be here at 31, and we're just the value's too good here. He's a good offensive lineman. He will help our team. And if we put him at left guard and Kingsley plays right tackle, if we put him at right guard and Trey Smith, is gone after this year, and we got to do something with that, then that's what we'll do. But this guy should have been gone in the top 20. He's a stud guard, and we're going to place him at left guard, and we'll figure out something for Kingsley that we took in the second round last year. I think that's a third possibility, that it's just like, I didn't think they were going to take a safety last year with the safeties that they had, but they were like, Jaden Hicks is here in the 4th round. He shouldn't be here. Like, a lot of people had him gone in the second round, like day 2. He was going to be gone on Friday. He's there, and it was their second pick. They had already taken, Wiley at that point. And then Hicks is still there, and they're like, well, we're going to take him. Luckily they did, because now, they can walk away from Justin Reed and feel confident that they've got ability there at that spot. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. We'll talk with Les Norman coming up at noon. 913-912-4810. Text says, can't solve left tackle this year. Take a defensive tackle if he's there or a wide receiver. Got to wait until Juwan is gone next year unless they want a dead cap draft pick trade. I would say that for the Chiefs, if the Chiefs were in the boat of, let's say, Buffalo, Baltimore, Cincinnati, I'd be looking more at specific, what can this guy do this year alone? You need somebody that can impact the team this year because you don't have a Super Bowl. Chiefs have been to 3 straight. They've won 3 Super Bowls, 7 straight AFC Championship games at least. And they've been to 5 Super Bowls. The Chiefs' draft outlook philosophy should still be bigger picture. If this guy is going to solve the left tackle spot in the bigger picture that maybe not this specific year, then I think that's the route you go. If it's Josh Simmons, Connerly, those are the 2 most popular names for the Chiefs. I think even specifically, not just most popular names at specific positions, but like literally the most popular names that are out there for mock drafts. It's number 1, Josh Simmons, and then number 2, Josh Connerly. And then a tie with Walter Nolan and Derek Harmon at defensive tackle. By the way, Arrowhead Pride has a great resource with this, that they have over 100+ mock drafts that they've looked at, and they've gone through each and every positional group, and then also players that show up in the mock drafts as well, and the percentage of mock drafts those players show up to. It's an awesome resource at Arrowhead Pride, and it has listed here Josh Simmons showing up in 18% of those. Josh Connerly, tackle from Oregon, showing up in 12%. So I get the idea of the texter saying that you're not going to solve left tackle this year. I don't think you will either. You take Josh Simmons, he's not plug and play. It's not Alt, right? You're not taking Joe Alt and saying, boom, done, there you go. You're not taking somebody in the top 10 at left tackle and saying, this guy's going to be your left tackle this year. There was going to be some adjustment for Simmons, still recovering from the injury, if he's good to go early on. Or maybe if he's fully recovered from the injury and he would have been a top 15 pick. Because if you're taking a left tackle in the top 15, you're kind of thinking he's going to play right away.
You know my thoughts on taking a tackle. I'm over it. I'm done with it.
You say take it every time?
I'm done taking them because the Chiefs will
tackle
not,
and running back in the first round is what you've been lobbying for the last, month and a half?
No matter what.
The Chiefs can't
Running
develop
back, no matter
tackles, and they don't. They won't allow themselves to develop tackles. Why would you take a tackle when you're not going to play them more than 3 games if they struggle? You're not the Panthers. You're not a bad team. You don't have the ability to let these guys improve and develop on the fly. You can't let Patrick get hurt. You can't tank your season.
So what's the answer at left tackle then if you can never draft
Free
one?
agents and paying for them.
So
That's all you can do.
Who's letting their tackle go in free
No,
agency that's not named Jalen Moore and Dan Moore?
My point is either a fairly large trade,
Okay.
or it's going to have to be the Orlando Brown Jr. method, but you're going to have to extend that guy. That's what it's going to come down to. The odds of the Chiefs getting an elite Trent Williams is 1% tops. You're going to have to go for these Jalen Moore types and hope they hit, and then you're going to have to extend them. You're going to have to pay top dollar for them.
Or you have an opportunity where a guy has a patellar injury that you think is healthy enough and wouldn't be there at 16 or 17, and he's there at 31. I think the more overall philosophy would be what makes your team overall better for the future, not specifically for September. Let's break the norm.
I've never seen anybody eat their lunch so fast than what Sterling just
Dude,
did.
Sterling just hoovers the things, man. He inhales his food so fast. It is crazy.
What?
That was impressive.
Did you even taste that food at all?
Yeah, it was delicious. I went there.
I don't know that it was.
In that break, just to set the stage.
Did you drop it on the floor? That's what the other question.
No, I'd eat it still.
Well, how long has it been on the floor?
So
that was very quick.
In that break, I used the restroom, drank a lot of liquids.
We've been saying small sample size and settle out of court a lot. So
yeah, so I've had to drink a lot of liquids. Stay hydrated, guys.
Believe it.
Drink of water. Drink of water if you're listening. It's healthy for you. Went in, reheated my enchiladas, threw some hot sauce on that bad boy.
I can smell that.
Yeah, you like that? Woo. You like that?
Yeah, I can
You
smell
like
the
that?
hot sauce.
I like it
Yeah.
hot.
The size of my nose, I can feel it in my feet.
Some
That's
like
right,
it hot, and some sweat when the heat is on. Power Station told us that.
Sinus is cleared up.
And then I just ate that. That's about a 4.5 minute break there, Dylan?
Yeah, but you didn't take the entire break, the 4.5 minute break or 6 minute break or whatever. You went to the bathroom, heated it up, and then ate it.
Yeah, I'm efficient.
So yeah, that's right.
I'm an efficient man.
Yeah. 913-912-4810. Inefficient has been the Royals' offense. Text comes in, says Chiefs drafting and developing tackles is like the Royals drafting and developing outfield talent. It's kind of that connection, right?
Not lying.
Yeah. Les Norman, Breaking the Norm, presented by TruckMovers.com and First Federal Bank of Kansas City. Les, I joked about it in the first segment that I thought it was unfair that they let the Yankees offense play in Yankee Stadium, and when the Royals were up, they moved it to Yellowstone. Because a lot of people complaining about this ballpark is stupid. But they both get to play in it.
Right.
Both offenses get to play
Absolutely.
with the short porch.
When you get
right.
2 hits and one of them is a home run from maybe one of 2 guys that's actually hitting, you don't have anything to complain about. I mean, I'd said this, before we came on, that I hate that we live in a world. I use the H word. I hate that we live in a world where Jazz Chisholm has the tie for the league lead in home runs. Now, that stat points to the Little League park they play in. But regardless of that, the Royals have to hit too. And they didn't, and they're not.
What are you seeing from this team? I mean, we went through a number of advanced analytics that we can bring up and talk about, and maybe it'll color and color in some of the parts of the story of what's going on right now. But what are you seeing from this team as to why they have 3 guys in the lineup last night batting above 207?
Yeah, that's about right. What was that? Isbell, Garcia, and Bobby Witt, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bobby's at 300. Garcia's at 278, and Isbell's at 258.
Yeah, I
or
think Salvi's
268.
like 203, and
203.
then there's everybody else.
Yes.
So
everybody else below 200.
yeah, what I'm seeing is even Salvi chasing bad pitches, he's still going to drive in runs. He's still going to probably hit 250, and if he hits 240 or 250 at his age and hits 20 home runs and drives in 75, that's just Salvi. I mean, you're going to get that out of him. He got incredible plate coverage. He can use all the fields, and he'll go through his phases of swinging and missing and striking out more than he should be, but then he'll also go through those phases of getting a lot of big hits. And he just does that, and he's proven that in his long career so far. But what I'm seeing is a lot of chasing up in the zone, long swings, swinging at a lot of first pitches that are out of the zone, and then taking pitches down the middle. And I think the worst part is I'm seeing a lot of pitches that really are down the middle, that aren't just hittable pitches, reachable pitches, but drivable pitches, and we're either missing or fouling out or weak ground balls. It's just, I looked this morning, and I think in almost, if not every offensive category in the big leagues right now, the Royals are 24th or worse in just about every category.
I'm not surprised. You guys want to take a guess of players had to play at least 10 games, okay? You have to play at least 10 games. How many Royals have an on-base percentage over 300? Not a batting average over 300. On-base percentage
I'm
over
going to
300.
say 1.
Yeah.
2. It's Bobby in India.
I knew India did. Duh. So 2. Yeah.
Okay, but he's hitting 196.
Yeah, he's hitting below. Like he's walking. So
Yeah.
his on base percentage is 130 points higher than his batting average, but
that's the only way he's getting on right now.
when he's getting strikes to swing at, he's not doing anything with
Yeah.
them. And that's the issue with him, is that he's walking or
He's slugging 250. I mean, he's slugging That's a fun one. How many guys are slugging over 400 And
2.
I'd say your same number of 2.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
Bobby and Salvi.
Bobby. No, Salvi's slugging 328.
All right, never mind.
Michael Garcia,
yeah,
463,
yeah. Garcia's
and
got a
it's
couple home
that's
runs.
it. Those two
Yeah,
only
yeah.
guys. And the Yankees lineup last night. You want to take a guess how many were slugging over 400?
23.
23 of the 9 were sucking.
Gosh. I would say probably 7 of the 9 last
Seven.
night.
7.
Nice
Yeah.
job. Les.
7.
See?
Yeah.
The Royals have 2. The Yankees have 7.
Yeah, but is that good or bad? That's what I want to know the answer to, you know? I think it's bad, obviously. So clearly it's not just the ballpark that they're playing in.
Yeah, it's not.
So they showed the stat last night, which then I wanted to look at some other things as well. Like the chase rate for the Royals last year, they were 7th highest in baseball, which means they were swinging at the 7th most pitches outside of the zone.
Mm-hmm.
This year they're 3rd. They've gotten worse in their chase percentage. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is like they're also like top 5 in contact percentage outside the zone. So yeah, nice they're making contact on the pitches they're swinging at, but there's a reason they're 25th in hard hit percentage, right?
But see that I know you say that it's nice that they're making contact. Out
I'm
of the
being
zone.
right.
But
But
it's so not nice.
Yeah,
that
right.
they're-
That's true.
Yeah,
You'd rather them swing and miss rather than put a meekly hit ball into play. Because, again, they're 25th in hard hit percentage this year while being number 3 in chase percentage and number 2 in contact percentage outside the
yeah.
zone.
I'd rather them just have zone awareness. I mean,
That would be great.
Let's try that. I mean, I think, and Sterling, I know you'll probably look this up, but somehow they were better than 24th, I think, in strikeouts in the MLB. Maybe they were like 17th or 19th, or maybe I'm wrong. I thought that was the stat I looked up. That blew me away, especially when they punched out 15 a few games ago.
No kidding.
In Cleveland. So, yeah, there's a lot going on right there. I mean, you see it in the analytics. I see it in just kind of what the consistency of watching swings. I know Kyle Isbell got 3 hits the other day, and that's great, but he's probably not going to sustain that. And his swing is long. His barrel's in the zone and then out of the zone. So he just has really good timing, and hey, run with it. He's got a good career so far out of it. Yes, sir.
They have been the 11th best. So that would be, so however you want
So
to.
11th fewest strikeouts.
11th fewest strikeouts with 133.
That blows me away.
Yeah.
But that also
I mean, they're a
shows that
contact team, so they're not
Yeah.
walking, they're not striking out much. They're putting the ball in
Well, they're
play.
not walking because they're swinging at pitches out of the zone. That's probably why that stat is so high.
They also have the 3rd worst OPS in baseball with
There's Pittsburgh behind them. And
Pittsburgh by .03, and
I'm going to say like Seattle or Cincinnati or something.
the White Sox.
Oh,
yeah,
I forgot
nice.
about those guys.
That's a great 3 teams you want to be with. The White Sox, Pirates, and Royals for batting ineptitude.
Yeah. It's rough.
We had a text earlier, Les, about like it seems like the Royals are down 0-1, like just constantly like they're the first pitch strike, either they're not swinging at or they're swinging and missing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll know the answer to this if I ask. Like, you want to guess as to who the number 1 team in the league is at first pitch strike percentage at the plate?
Yeah.
It's the Royals.
Yeah.
65% of their at bats this year have been the first pitch strike. Whether they're hitting it or swinging and missing or they're taking it, 65% first pitch strike. And I think there's part of it of like, you know, are you afraid to throw a strike to some of these guys? You know, if Kevin Biggio's up there, like, well, I'm not gonna pitch backwards to this guy and have him chase or something like that. He's not gonna ambush me on the first pitch.
Yeah,
Even if he hits it,
have
I'm
to.
fine. I'm gonna throw him a strike.
Right.
And so there's a couple of guys that are like, am I gonna throw a strike to this guy in this at bat? Well, first inning, Salvi, Carrasco throws a strike right down the middle. And then that's the last strike that he saw, but he still ended up, you know, striking out. So maybe that was part of the strategy of like, well, I've walked 2 guys. Is Salvi going to, you know, swing at the first pitch here? He might, but odds are he's probably going to be a little bit more patient knowing that I've just walked 2 guys because he's a smart dude and he's been in the league a long time. All right, here's a get me over fastball. I'm up 0-1. Now I can work him a little bit because Salvi's back to being
And
Salvi.
You don't have to throw a strike. Not
Yeah.
even close to being a strike. I mean, again, this is they're going through a phase of they're taking pitches early in the count, right down the middle, or every once in a while because the hitters aren't just trying to see and adjust just feed off the fastball. Every pitch you ever face, even 0-2, you feed off of the fastball, so you're always ready to hit it. And there are some times, some at bats to these guys where it's 0-2, and so they're thinking, he's going to throw a nasty slider in the dirt, or I got to be ready, and it's off speed, and pump a fastball right by him, even if it's only 92. But their approach and their mindset is, no, it's going to be something off speed, and so that ball sneaks by them. And then when guys are ready, they're missing the pitch, they're fouling it off. Have you noticed? Are there any guys on the Royals right now of the guys that are struggling? I mean, don't think Garcia, don't think Bobby. Just think of all the other guys that they're just crushing the ball, but they're just having bad luck. They're hitting it right at guys right now.
Salvi's the only one that comes to mind because he's had a couple of in that Cleveland series. He had a few hits that were like right at the left fielder.
Yeah, but he's the anomaly though because he can hit a ball a foot outside and do that.
That's
nobody else can do
true.
that. So I'll even take Salvi out of it.
Yeah,
that's only a third of your lineup right there.
That's the only one that comes to mind of like rockets and line drives that seem to be unfortunately and unlucky right at somebody.
Even I know Vinny's got a couple home runs and one was really close, but he's also got some pretty big hits. I mean, he got that one with the bases loaded at home that was a blooper down the right field line. So he's getting jammed on stuff. And I think I saw Massey get a hit, and he's getting jammed on stuff.
And the torpedo bats. Come on, boys.
Yeah, it's not.
Was it Isbell that's
is trying that, and it's at times has worked. He has two bats. If a guy throws a inside a lot or a cutter, he'll use a torpedo bat. It's not every time, which I think is actually a pretty interesting strategy.
Makes sense.
I'll give Kyle some credit for trying something different, and so far, he hasn't been the biggest culprit of the offense.
Well, cutters are naturally going to come more near because when you see a ball that is a cutter, even if you know it's a cutter, you're still going to swing in that millisecond where you see the ball going to be, and you are anticipating, it's going to be here based on where it is, and it still cuts even more. That last few feet, it cuts more than your eyes and your hand-eye coordination can work. And so the torpedo bat in that sense is actually a wise decision because you're going to get a better shot to get something out there. But and I still don't think a torpedo bat is necessarily the answer. I mean, if it makes you more confident, okay, fine, whatever. But it's not going to be any better than anything. So
you still have to connect and barrel it up wherever the barrel is.
Right.
Like, if you're missing the barrel, wherever the barrel is on the torpedo bat, you're still going to miss it.
Anyone notice how it's kind of been a little quiet about the torpedo bats ever since the first week and a half?
Yeah.
Because you know why? The Yankees aren't playing the Brewers with that pitching staff. Ellie De La Cruz did a couple home runs with it, and now he's mired in a slump.
Well, he hit a grand slam the other night.
Well, he did but still. The point remains.
Well, Jazz Chisholm has 6 home runs. He's still hitting under 200.
Well, it's the who's the player that has for the Dodgers? He's got 6 hits and 4 home runs this year. God, I can't remember his name. He plays for the Dodgers. But anyway, to that point,
Edmonds? Tommy Edmonds?
Yeah.
Wow,
Tommy Edmonds.
Tommy Edmonds does?
Yeah, he's got 6 hits.
Sorry.
Edmund, yeah, he got 6 hits and 4 home runs this year. I don't think that's going to keep up.
Probably not.
I don't think that pace is good. Like Wilmer Flores had 4 home runs all of last year in the 90 games that he played. He's got 6 home runs already this year.
Yeah, when they put out that list, I was like, that's not that bad. I mean, he's like the only guy besides a couple that you would expect to be in that list.
Yeah, it's like Wilmer Flores has 6, or what did he have last year? 4.
Yeah, Tommy Edman won't get the contract extension that a Kyle Schwarber would get, who's hitting 196 and dropped 40.
But also has 6 home runs as well, Schwarber, and has some freaking Jack Caglione tanks.
Yeah.
Or does Jack Caglione have Kyle Schwarber tanks? I don't know. One came before the other, so it's probably that one. But obviously that's why people are pumped about what's going on in the minor leagues. But I wanted to ask you, like, strategy versus execution, because I wonder if there's something to the first strike percentage this year. They're number 1. Last year they were number 13. The called strike percentage / whiff percentage when it's combined of just if there's a strike on the batter that's not put in play. The Royals are the 10th highest this year. Last year they were 26th. So it was like if they were seeing a strike, they were probably putting it in play to a certain degree. But they were also chasing outside the zone, as we talked about, one of those first numbers we gave, just some of the peripheral analytics around it. But as far as like somebody who played the game and you're in the box, is there strategy versus execution? Because last year after the season was over and after that Yankee series, the one thing the Royals players were talking about was swinging at bad pitches. And look at what the Yankees were doing. And there was pitches an inch or two off the plate and they weren't swinging. We were 2-0 and we were swinging at a ball, just trying to do way too much. We've got to work on that. The strategy of plate discipline, work the count more, swing more at your pitch versus the execution of, hey, I'm going to take more pitches. Well, that's a strike. All right, I'm going to take this pitch. Well, that's a strike. Well, yeah, just by taking a pitch doesn't mean it's plate discipline. If you go up there going, I'm not swinging, that's not plate discipline.
Right.
That's just saying you're not swinging, okay?
That's the 9-year-olds.
Yes, that's the 9-year-olds of, hey, we're going to steal, take. Take, we're stealing, let's roll here.
Right.
So is there a potential to where Zumwalt and some of these specific hitters individually have taken the approach of, I need to see more pitches per plate appearance. I need to be more patient. But that in turn, the execution is that they're seeing strikes that they're not swinging at that maybe they would have swung at last year because they're trying to take more pitches.
I think there's two things involved in this. Number one is if a guy like Bobby Witt Jr. is middle in and you see a fastball middle in, you shouldn't miss it. Or if you even see a hanger, you shouldn't miss it. If you have two hot zones where you hammer fastballs away and you're good on off speed inside for strikes, then those are the pitches that you should attack. The problem is oftentimes mentally, hitters get in there where they're hitting to not fail. They're hitting to not strike out. They're hitting to, well, obviously our team's not hitting, and I'm trying to do too much, and so I'm going to hit to not strike out. And then oftentimes you get in protective mode when you're 2-1, when you're 1-1. Those are hitters' counts. Those are counts that you should be confident in. And if a guy paints you on the corner and it's 1-2, okay, you tip your hat, but you still got to ride your confidence out because that's not normally a pitch. Now 1-2, 0-2, 2-2 even, okay, maybe you widen your stance a little bit and you get in a little bit of defensive mode. But even when you're doing that to shorten your stroke, it still shouldn't be one of those situations where I'm hitting to not strike out because it increases your chances of striking out. It's not a good approach, even for the better hitters that can get away with stuff like that.
I just think it's such a good point because that's what it feels like this team is doing. They're not striking out a ton by all the numbers we pulled up. They're 11th best in strikeout rate.
But they're not driving the ball.
But they're not,
right.
And they're third worst in slugging.
Yeah.
Because they're just, to your point, they're trying not to strike out. How many weak grounders have we seen to the second baseman or the shortstop or just a little 80-mile-an-hour exit velo pop fly? It's a can of corn. That's like all we've seen.
Yeah.
Because you're right. They're trying not to strike out.
Yeah.
They're it's so frustrating to watch. And I mean, if you're a golfer, I think it's the same thing too, where it's almost, you see let's say it's a tight fairway and you're trying to hit it. So what do? Well, you try so hard to choke up and take an easy swing. You end up snap hooking it into the woods or slicing off the face of the planet. You take a normal swing, you're probably going to hit the fairway. And these guys right now aren't taking their normal swing. They're just trying to make contact, and it's brutal contact. Yeah. Every single exit velo rate is tiny.
Yeah.
It's just bad. I hate watching bad baseball, Jason. You and I, we hate watching bad baseball.
If I'm an opposing pitcher right now, I can't wait to play the Royals. And that's not an insult to the Royals. They're big league hitters. They're better than me. I mean, they're good hitters. They're not showing it, obviously, but still, they're still the best in the world at what they do. But with that kind of approach all the time, I'm just going to pad my stats, and I only have to trust my offense a little bit in games like that.
Well, and what's even worse, take it as you will, the Royals are 8-9 with one of the most inept offenses in the entire league. So
I don't need them to win. I just need them to compete.
So there's a tiny slimmer of hope. But can the Royals' ERA, right now, they are fourth best in baseball at a 3.21. And the concern is, okay, well, we don't think the bat's going to be that bad. Well, can the pitching stay the way that it is? We know this Royals team is built on pitching. We get that. But still, fourth best in all of baseball at a 3.21.
They're still human. I mean, they got to have bad stretches.
100%. And so
the pendulum swings in a 162-game season.
And so I think my concern is I found myself even saying, well, the offense is going to get going. They're not going to be the third worst in baseball all season long. But will the pitching be the fourth best in baseball all season long? Thank you, Dylan. Or will it drop down to maybe 8, 9, 10? And if the offense doesn't pick up any slack, well, this is a team that wins 70, 75 games.
Yeah, that's a strong possibility, even though we're only 17 games in the season. And let me add one more thing to this whole offensive approach, too, that works against hitters, where it's Royals hitters or any hitters like that. If umpires are going to have great games, Umpires are going to have bad games, but the majority of them are going to have a pretty good game. I mean, they just are. That's why they're big league umpires.
95% of the strike ball is accurate.
So sometimes you're just going to get a bad call put on you, and sometimes you're going to get one. It's just the way it is. But when you're swinging at bad pitch after bad pitch, and you're making contact, and then you get a borderline call that might be an inch or two off the plate that you don't swing at, you're going to get rung up on it because you're offering at it the whole time, and you're going to reward a pitcher for even if an umpire in his mind isn't saying, you know what, if it's barely off, he's over there and they keep swinging it, I'm going to just ring him up and make it a strike. No, he's going to still call his own zone, but an umpire is more apt to ring you up on a pitch that's just off the plate, that maybe that one particular pitch or at bat you saw it well and didn't offer at it, but the previous 2 or 3 you did. So a hitter that does that consistently shows that he doesn't have zone awareness. And when a hitter does not have zone awareness on a consistent level, they're not going to get the borderline calls. The pitchers are almost always going to get those. That's the hitter's fault. That's not the umpire's fault.
Les Norman is our guest, breaking the norm. I went and looked at the hard hit percentage and then runs scored in Major League Baseball. With the Royals in their hard hit percentage, the teams that are below them as their 25th in Major League Baseball at hard hit percentage, the Twins, Blue Jays, Padres, Reds, and White Sox are the ones that are below the
Padres
Royals.
is shocking.
Yeah, that's the one that's because they're 8th in runs scored per game this year, the Padres, but they're sitting there at 28th in hard hit percentage.
Well, Luis Ariz kind of brings that thing down.
Yeah, probably to a degree, but damn, at least he gets on base. I'd love for somebody that that has a 300 average but doesn't hit the ball very hard.
Oh, it's incredible. It's 60-mile-an-hour exit velos that are all just booty knocks.
But the other ones, the Blue Jays are 19th in runs scored, the Reds 22nd, the White Sox 26th, and the Twins 27th. Royals are 29th, by the way. Only the Rockies are worse than the Royals in runs per game. They are 29th in all of baseball at 3.12 runs per game. So, as long as their pitching staff doesn't give up 3 runs, then, they can win a lot of these games. Of course, they needed the pitching staff to not give up 1 run last night for them to win. That was not the case. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, and I want to talk to Les Norman from the pitching side of it of a stopper. Do you, the old adage, like in baseball, do you believe in the stopper? Do you believe in the momentum is only as good as the next day starting pitcher? And when the Royals' next day starting pitcher is Cole Reagans, it's pretty damn good. They got a lot of momentum. It's Les Norman, Breaking the Norm, presented by TruckMovers.com and First Federal Bank of Kansas City. More Zone next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. We are breaking the norm with Les Norman, presented by TruckMovers.com and First Federal Bank of Kansas City. We talked about the offensive ineptitude, and that's no bueno. It's not fun to talk about that. I'd much rather talk about the successes of the offense, and we just didn't see much of that last year, and especially at the end of the season, and that has not carried over this year to this offense, and they've got to, at some point, they got to figure something out with the outfield, and I don't know if the Royals wait another 2 weeks in the arbitrary, well, you don't want to make a decision before May. Why? Well, because, we've always sort of felt like May is that point where you can start to make a decision. Well, maybe you're not going to be in contention by that time if you don't make a decision. They're only 2.5 out right now, and they've played a really tough schedule, but I just also less like I don't know what the answers are. Like it's like, hey, you need to figure something out for the outfield. Well, Drew Waters, well, he's an option. Don't know that he's an answer. Like Weimer, he's an option, but is he an answer? Mm-hmm. Like that's the thing that they're dealing with. Gavin Cross, option, is he an answer? I think people feel like Jack could be an answer, but the Royals don't feel like he's ready to be that answer right now. Right.
And that's a lot to put on a kid.
Yeah,
I mean it really is. I know that. I mean, he's facing Double-A pitching.
Yeah.
He's not, and it is different. It's different than Triple-A pitching. So I know he had big league camp, but again, we have to remember you're seeing more strikes in big league camp. Guys are trying to get their velocity and their pitches right, and they're just getting in shape and all that. So just because you have good spring trainings, obviously the Royals have good spring trainings every year, but that doesn't translate, man.
So good in spring training.
Yeah.
So good in spring training. I did like, and we'll talk about Cole Reagans here in a second. I did like that Jack's third home run was an outside pitch that he took to left center for 410. Mm-hmm. Because the first two have been just like turning on pitches for 460 into right field and right center. That this was one that was outside, and he just put the barrel on it and hit it 410 to left center.
But that approach is not just because he's big. That approach is he's hitting the ball where it's pitched. He's not making a decision in advance. He's just putting a good swing and trying to hit the ball hard because he knows body-wise he's going to be able – he knows himself. He's going to be able to drive that ball in the gap or most likely out of the park. And so, man, I would like to see some big leaguers here in Kansas City take that approach.
You do that while wearing a Royals uniform, not just a Naturals uniform.
Yeah, I think, and last thing on the offense, I think the other day when Bobby was on second base and Vinny was up and it was a changeup away and he tried to pull it. He didn't end up pulling it. But he tried to pull it, and he realized that it was outside, and he'd already committed his hips, and so he just kind of threw his hands at it and was out front. Now, granted, it wasn't a bad pitch, but you can tell, obviously, he was not trying. He thought pull, which is great, but he got over-anxious that I'm going to pull this next pitch, and it happens to be a changeup, and it happens to be away, and so you just flick it for a harmless fly ball. You don't move the runner over. And it just seems like that's kind of a microcosm of what the Royals hitters have done this year already.
Do you believe in the stopper in baseball and a guy who's a pitcher that when you need it can find an extra gear and find something more that may not be there on a daily basis or is there on a daily basis, but now the level is raised, the bar is raised even higher? Do you believe in that sort of ability from a pitcher?
Yeah, I mean, I believe they have the ability to do that. Yeah, I believe that can happen. But when your offense is anemic, I mean, you can't win a game 0-0. You can't win 1-1. You know what I mean? So you can be behind a pitcher that's confident that's going to go out and you got a really good shot. You don't have to score 6-7 runs to win a game. That's a good guy to have. And I believe the Royals have that in Cole Reagans for sure. But and once in a while, Lugo can be that guy. Even Waka once in a while can be that guy. Bubic was like that the first two games and down to earth in his third start, but still, I think that Reagans consistently can be that guy. But why would you have to put that pressure on him all the time to be that guy? Because it seems like every start during stretches like this, he has to be, and that's not good.
Yeah, I threw the numbers out yesterday, Les, because Reagan's was just brilliant, and he's now got 3 straight games of double-digit strikeouts, no walks, double-digit strikeouts, and just I think Curtis said that this was the 41st time in Major League Baseball that a pitcher had back-to-back games of no walks and double-digit strikeouts. Mm-hmm. So in the history of the game, what Cole Reagan just did has happened 40 times before. Like, of all the pitchers, of all the games, of all the seasons, that's what Cole Reagan's has done. But starting last year and then heading into this year with that start on Sunday, when the Royals have lost at least back-to-back games, so sometimes a 2-game streak, sometimes 3 in a row. One of those games was a 7-game losing streak that they ended up snapping. But in those 12 games, when Cole Reagans has gone to the mound with the Royals losing at least back-to-back games, they're 9-3 in those games with him on the mound. And he's pitched a total of 73 innings, which is right around 6 innings averaging out, with a 1.7 ERA, a 1 whip, and 11 strikeouts per 9 when he's there. Like, he's good already. He's good already, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's already a stud. But it sort of feels like Reagans takes the mound of, like, we've lost a couple of games in a row. I'm not going to let these guys score. So how do we win a game? If our offense only gets us 1, then that's how we're going to have to win this game, is only getting 1. Because, 73 innings and 90 strikeouts in that time. And I'm talking about just those 12 games only. And we saw that on Sunday against the Guardians, where back-to-back losses, and you got to go out there and win that. Last year against the Nationals, it was a 7-game losing streak, and he was on the mound and didn't give up a run. The Royals won in 10. They won in the 10th inning, 1-0. And I reminded everybody that, I don't know if you remember that game or not, Les, but against the Nationals late September, it was the one where Joey Gallo pinch hit against Urseg and rips the ball down the right field line with a runner at second, and the Royals up 1-0. The Royals got a run in the top of the 10th with the ghost runner. 2 outs. Joey Gallo comes in. Urseg lays one out there, and Gallo just turns on it and crushes it. And everybody's just waiting to see if that's a fair ball, if the Royals just got walked off to the Nationals, and it's an 8-game losing streak. And I think everybody pretty much agreed at that point, Les, that if that was a fair ball, the Royals were not making the playoffs.
It's over.
It's over. But Reagans went to the mound and stopped the streak. His previous time in the rotation, he couldn't stop the streak because they had lost 7 in a row, so clearly he had another chance at it.
Yeah.
But 9-3, like there is that element of him. And then game 1 against Baltimore, that brilliant outing of, 8 strikeouts, no walks, a couple of base runners in 7 innings. Like, he's an ace in how good he is, but then there's also, like, it seems like another level he goes to when you have to have it from him.
That's a stopper / ace in his mindset, too. But every time he takes the mound, it's not just, the offense is struggling, I got to go out here and win, or we've lost, should have won those games, but we've lost a bunch in a row. I'm going to go out here and that's it. I mean, every time he takes the mound, whether they've won 10, lost 10, or whether they're struggling offensively or middle of the road or whatever it may be, that's just his approach. You can see it in his face. I mean, he gets after it every pitch.
Yeah.
He wants every corner. He wants every nibble. He wants a 97 Linda Ronstadt Blue Bayou fastball up in the zone. I love watching him pitch. So, yeah, he can be a stopper because I just think he is a stopper every time he takes the mound.
I think, too, like what he's done this year, and I don't know if there's more confidence in it. Clearly there is, or if there was a concerted approach in the offseason, but he is playing off his fastball a lot. Like, he's just letting the fastball rip. And I don't know if maybe he's like, turns out it's tough to hit this fastball, and all I got to do is place it.
Yeah.
And these guys are swinging through it. But he's got so many other pitches. He's got the changeup. He's got the slider. He's got, a cutter. He's got different ways of pitching. But it's been a lot of that game on Sunday was a lot of four-seam fastballs, just blowing it by guys.
It was. The only really hard ball I've seen hit off of him, he threw a 98-mile-an-hour fastball with 2 strikes up to Schneemann in Cleveland the other day, and he went oppo with it off the wall. But it was a good play, and then Bobby turned through it wild, and they both ended up scoring. They should have had him at the plate.
Little league home run.
Yeah, and the runner shouldn't have been on in the first place. So defense more than anything, and Reagans won't tell you that. He'll say, I shouldn't have threw the ball up that high. Well, it's Schneemann, who doesn't play every day, and he just happened to run into one, and when you throw 98, everyone's going to run into one eventually, and he didn't hit it out of the park. He just hit it off the wall. Melendez made a good play. Yes, I said it. And so, it is what it is. But those 2 runs were the only runs that scored that day.
Yeah, there's go ahead, Sterling.
I was going to say, just to your point, because I want to bring up
'cause
thought process
if
here.
the numbers are surrounding the fact that he's using the fastball more,
So yeah,
or it's more effective.
2023 four-seam fastball usage was 40%, and his fastball run value was 54th percentile. Last year, so that was 23.
Yes, yeah.
So part Texas, part though the great stretch when he got to KC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last year he used a four-seam at 42%, so up 2%, and his fastball run value was 87th percentile.
Huge jump.
This year, four-seam fastball usage is the 51%.
So more than half of his pitches.
More than half. So that's
are
a
four-seam
9%
fastballs.
from last year, 11% overall increase from 23, and his fastball run value is 94th percentile. So his four-seam fastball has not only improved, but you're right, he's realized, hey, this is my best pitch, even if the velo has not really changed much. No one can hit this. No one can hit this.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw it, and I can use my change now, my curve as a secondary, tertiary, more sparingly. But that four-seam fastball, you're right, Jason.
Les, what do you, as a hitter, you're up there against Cole Reagans, and the four-seam fastball is one pitch.
Mm-hmm.
But we saw against Cleveland, he was throwing his four-seam fastball at 93 or 94, and then 98, and then 99, and then 95. As a hitter, it's like, okay, I know what Cole Reagans throws. He throws this, he throws a four-seam fastball. Right, but am I getting the 93-mile-an-hour four-seam fastball that he's just the pitchability, or am I getting the one where he's just going to pump it right by me?
It's like having a fifth and sixth pitch. You know what I mean? Because give me 93 all day. I'll challenge you. I'll get after it at 95, and sometimes you'll get me, and sometimes I'll get you. You get into 97, 98. Now I'm just hoping to somehow fight it off until you throw me something else. But his something else is so good, you don't really want that either, because his curveball, slider, chain, all his stuff is nasty, and he can put it where he wants. So yeah, it's guys that have different fastballs. You know, like I said earlier, how you feed off the fastball.
Yeah.
Well, in his case, you got to feed off 4 different fastballs. Even if they're not moving, if they're four-seam fastballs, but it's 93, the 95, the 97, the 98, I mean, you can't dig in those. And then when you do expect and you happen to guess right, but you miss it, or it's a little bit above the zone, but you off-rat it because you're ready, and it's eye level, and you swing and miss, or you pop it up or something like that. So it's really tough. I mean, it's just something else, another level.
Yeah.
That just makes him so good.
Yeah, hitting's hard.
You want to take a guess at what people are slugging?
Oh,
Slugging
against Cole Reagans?
against the four-seamer.
3.
I'm going to say 200. Slugging at a 3, 0.03.
295 slugging against his four-seam fastball. Not
I didn't play
batting
the game.
average.
I didn't play the game correctly. I went
slugging.
That's all right.
I went extreme the other
You
way.
went 30.
Yes, a 30.
So slugging 295 against it, and this is why, again, it plays so well with the changeup.
Yeah.
His changeup, it has been hit slugging-wise. Not much. Batting average against the changeup's 167. Slugging against it 444. There've been a couple of we got a home run and a few doubles against that change. But the whiff percentage when he throws it is 65.7% with the changeup. So he's on that fastball 51% of the time. But when that change does come, it's been devastating. 65.7% whiff rate when he throws it.
Yeah. And it's like you don't to change speeds, you don't have to throw the changeup. Like
Right.
It's like, oh, well, the changeup has a lot of movement, so the changeup has work, especially against the right-hander. So yeah, I'll throw the changeup when I got the righties up there, but I can change speeds on my fastball too, and that's just the feel to it. And I compare it a little bit to like football and a running like locally, Devin Neal. Like Devin Neal isn't a guy that's like, wow, he runs a 4.4. But what's special about Devin Neal is his feel to throttle up and down based off where the guy is in the angle. Like he's running, but I'm going to throttle it down a little bit to set up this run, or I can throttle it up a little bit. Like his pacing when he's out in the open field, Devin Neal is just brilliant. And with Cole Reagans, like I think the pacing and throttling up and down in certain situations, that's a level of experience and now probably confidence and belief in himself that you're not going to hit this anyway, but you were kind of on 98, so now I'll throw 93, or you were timing up
Ground
93.
out to third, or ground out to first.
Right,
or-
you were timing 93. Well, here comes 98 at right across the letters at the top part of the zone that's also going to have some rise to it, so good luck with that.
Yeah.
So, Les Norman, Breaking the Norm, presented by TruckMovers.com and First Federal Bank of Kansas City. Les, what do you got on the show with Breaking the Norm?
Yeah, I'm interviewing a guy named Eric McElveny who was a 3-time. He was a Marine, surfed 3 tours, stepped on an IED, and had his leg amputated, and then as he not fully rehabbed, but after he was rehabbing, just decided that he wanted to run an Ironman, and so now he's done like 8 Ironmans, and he's done all over the world, run marathons. He was on the 2020 Tokyo Paralympic team. And so he's a U.S. Olympian, Paralympian, runner, and motivational speaker, strong man of faith, and talks about inspiration and just kind of renewing your life. I mean, he's just a really cool dude. So yeah, we're gonna get some inspiration today.
Heck yeah, looking forward to hearing that.
Yeah.
Les Norman, Breaking the Norm, presented by TruckMovers.com and First Federal Bank of Kansas City. Les, you're the man. Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling more zone next. 1.5 ERA, 21 strikeouts, 3 walks. That'll be good for the Royals. He doesn't walk you, but he does strike you out. Other than that, perfectly fine. I didn't even talk to, we didn't get into the conversation with Les about Daniel Lynch and what he's doing as a reliever in his career. So since the Royals in 2024 moved him to a reliever, and there is one game in there that, if you look at the splits of his career, it counts as a relief outing. But I'm not counting it as a relief outing because he was a starter and they used an opener for him as a starter. It was the Yankees. The opener was Dan Altavilla.
No.
And the Royals were down 5-0 with 1 out in the first when they brought Daniel Lynch on with bases loaded.
Yeah.
It's a relief outing. He went 7 innings in relief and gave up 6 earned runs in that game. In a relief outing. That's not a relief. That's a starter that uses an opener. He went 7 innings. That's not a relief outing. As a specific reliever, coming out of the bullpen, middle of the game to pitch an inning or 2, he has thrown in his career with the Royals as a reliever 30 2/3 innings pitched, 9 hits, 0 earned runs, 10 walks, and 30 strikeouts.
In
30 2/3 innings pitched. He has the 3rd longest scoreless streak for a pitcher in Royals history, behind Wade Davis and Kelvin Herrera, is Daniel Lynch.
Have we thought, now hear me out, maybe this is spitballing here,
I think you're going to be dumb for saying this.
but using him instead of Angel Zerpa or Sam Long.
You're so stupid.
Is that...
I mean, I knew you were going there because I know how dumb you are.
Yeah.
I mean...
Sorry, that's on me.
You just walked right into it like a matador. I just held out the red towel, and you're like, oh, I'm a stupid bull.
I
see
red.
red. I'm just going to roke him right at it. I flipped up the... I'm like, aha, got you dumbass. And I stabbed you on the way by, you know?
That was kind of rude of you. Yeah, I felt that
I
prod,
know.
but I'm
Got it
prodding Q
right
to
in the
use
side.
him instead of Angel Zerpa. I'm prodding you, Q.
30 2/3 innings pitched, as he hasn't, knock on wood, given up a run as a reliever in his career. Todd Lebo hanging out with us here on a Tuesday. So I'm saying this on the air, so that means it's going to mean that Sterling has to do it. He can't just talk a big game. Sterling is saying that he's going to go with you to base camp on Friday. He's like, I'm doing it Friday. Tell you what, I'm going with you Friday. So now it's on the air, Sterling.
Sterling Stamp, I'll be there.
I'll be there.
9 a.m.
Someone's waking up early tomorrow. Dilly
Dylan
says he's going at 5:15 a.m.
5:15 a.m.
Like the old school days.
Wow.
Dude, that's the grinders in there at 5:15. I've never gone to 5:15. I've gone to 6:15 a few times.
I don't think I've ever been up at 5 o'clock. I didn't know 5 a.m. was a real time. I just thought it went from like 3 a.m. and then all of a sudden it was 8.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
No, it's 5 real.
Like 3 a.m. to 8 is just what goes on in that time frame.
I'll never get it, man. The alarm clock goes off at 5:50, and while I'm getting up, looking outside in the backyard and the sidewalk that goes, there are people running. And I'm just like, I can't do it, man. I don't know how you guys do it. Bless you. That's great, but I just don't know how you do it. Like, I'm barely dragging it to get out of bed at 5:50, and like you guys are out there running already.
Gets on the treadmill at our house at like 5:30.
Wow,
but
good for her.
She wakes up at like 4:30 and gets an hour to decompress before she does it. I'm like,
what time she go to bed? 6?
Yeah, about.
My mom does the same thing. She goes to bed at like 9, 10, but she had the morning show forever. But she wakes up at 4:30 or 5 a.m., does her French lessons until like 7. I'm like, you don't have to do it from 5 to. You could do French anytime. Why do you have to wake up at 5 a.m. to do your French?
Get that brain right in that morning.
Gets her brain
Yeah,
right.
I do Italian at 6:30, so they're a little bit later, a little more laissez-faire.
Yeah, you get that
Actually,
late
that would be
meal.
French.
Yeah, that would be French. What's their name that you do at 6 o'clock?
The Italian.
Yeah, what's the Italian's name?
Luigi.
Mario. So I go over there. There have been times like that. But we've talked about base
Actually,
camp
it's Vinny
before.
Pasquantino. He just
They're
comes and hangs
wonderful people there, and I have they do these challenges throughout the year as well, where you have to do so many, you sign up and you get prizes or whatever. And so I don't normally like to go at like 6:15, but if I had signed up for a challenge. Like, I didn't do the spring challenge this year because I was out of town for half of February because of the Super Bowl and everything. Yeah. And I wasn't going to be able to do it.
That's not really spring, too. That's kind of winter still.
And there are some times where it's like, wait a second, the Chiefs have a Zoom at this time and there's this at this time. And the only way for me to do it is to go at like 6:15. And like I live in Lee Summit, so I will go and drive out here and then I will drive down Antioch and there's all those people you're talking about running. I'm like, y'all are crazy. But then I'm driving to go,
yeah, but you're driving there to work out.
Yeah, but the people are out.
I don't understand. Good for them though. I'm not like I wish I
go get it.
My brother is a morning person and he's up at like 4:30 in the morning and I just don't understand it. My son, as soon as his eyes open, he's up and it's
ready
like,
to go.
Ready to go. And I'm
Put
like,
the feet on the ground.
Like,
Were you a snooze guy in college?
Me?
14 snoozes?
I was didn't even set an alarm. I don't even know. I'll get up whenever
Maybe
I get
I'll
up.
get
I don't know. No, it was a snooze guy. And my son, I'm like, you better be like this in high school. I don't want to have to be, yelling at you to get out of bed.
Yeah.
It's time for high school.
And don't do this when you're 7 or 8. You got. You best be jumping up.
You're waking up at 5:45, 6 o'clock as a 9-year-old. You damn sure better be doing that as a 15-year-old.
The funny part is, I remember when my kids were little. School gets progressively earlier, and they get progressively lazier.
It's dumb.
It goes the opposite way.
It's the opposite way of what the circadian rhythm is.
A late.
It's dumb.
Elementary school. At least Summit had you could be 7:30 or you could be 9, and their elementary school was 9, and so it was a slap in the face when that 7:30 a.m. middle school was. That bus came by like 6:45, and y'all better get up.
I don't understand it. Like
for workers, for kids, but for parents.
But
but you should.
For parents should be flipped.
High school should be a little later.
I guess
elementary school be a little bit
high school,
yeah, you're
because
right.
they can drive. The elementary school kids are getting up earlier. The high school kids are sleeping till like noon on the weekends. Plus, there are way more activities for high school at night. And then you're saying, no, now you got to get up and be at school this early.
Yeah,
where the kids, my son's up at 6. If he was going to
go to school,
if he was going to elementary school in Olathe, the school district he would go to school at like 9.
Yeah.
I'd be sitting around
half
for
the day.
2 hours and 45 minutes before he even went to school. Like, that makes no sense.
I just always laugh when Steven, the first day I'm coming here, I'm trying to learn about 8:10. I'm kind of interning the first day, and Steven's like, get here at like 5:30. Is what he meant to text me. His finger hit 4:30. Okay. So I text him.
Is that what he told you?
At 4:30, I'm sitting out here. I'm just.
That's funny.
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I bring coffee for everyone at Quick
cold,
Trip.
huh?
I got everything.
Jake wasn't already here?
I'm just sitting here.
Not at 4:30.
He ended up letting me in, though. It was
Okay,
Jake.
yeah.
I'm just sitting here,
first to
just
arrive.
waiting. I'm trying to text. I'm like, all right, I'm here. Nothing
Like,
back. I try opening the door. It's locked. I'm like, okay, sure.
It's called initiation, buddy.
And eventually Jake gets here, and he's like, "What are you? You're here early." I don't even know what he said. He probably just was like, "Who's this guy?"
Who are you, dummy?
And I'm like, "I got you a coffee, sir."
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
And eventually Stephen gets
Which,
here.
knowing Jake, I'm sure he was very accepting of a stranger's random coffee. I'm sure
Yeah.
that he was
No problem.
in a
no
suit,
eyebrows
in a
up at
suit
that.
too. I was wearing a
Showed
suit.
up in a suit?
So I'm looking like I'm trying to roofie the man, and eventually Stephen gets here and goes, "I'm sorry, my finger hit the wrong number. It's supposed to be 5:30, not 4:30."
No, my finger last night was way more motivated than my actual morning. I was going to get here at 4:30 with you.
Yeah, just didn't do it.
And that
yeah.
was like the last time I think I've
My
been
little-
up anywhere at that
My little
time.
rule in my head when I went away to school in college was never hit snooze. The alarm goes off.
I hit
get up,
snooze
get
this
out of bed.
morning.
Don't snooze.
Well, it was 9 minutes. I was a 9-minute snooze. It was lovely.
What's the point? I just get out of bed.
It was a lovely
When
snooze.
I lived in Wyoming and I needed to be at work at 4 in the morning, the alarm had to be on the other side of the room.
Yeah, you have to get up and get
Yep.
out of
I had to
bed.
get up out of bed to go get it because if I hit snooze and accidentally hit off, then
You're done.
They ended up
Toast.
making
It's
like,
almost like they wouldn't have paid you or something.
yeah, they made like alarm clocks where you had to put your feet
would've sucked.
on the ground to turn the alarm
Ooh,
off.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's how.
That's smart.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also had like the hazard. That was the alarm too. It wasn't just like
That's some soft
you should
wake
get
up.
one of
No,
those
it was
Pee Wee Herman.
across the room. I'm like, yeah, I got to get up. Well, it was one time when I got so discombobulated with my circadian rhythm, I had fallen asleep and I had woken up and I looked at the clock and it was 5 o'clock, and I was panicked. Jump in the shower, hair's wet, run outside, get in the car, drive into work, and realize it's 5 at night.
Yeah.
That was dude, waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning is awful.
I have a new
I
invention.
don't know how people do it. I
All
don't know.
these people on the it's one thing to be here like our guys are in the morning at 6, but these TV fools got to be on there at 4:30.
4:30, yeah.
Start this news at 4:30.
And you got to be there starting at that time.
I-
or you not only be there, you've got to be on the air starting at that time. You got to
Yeah.
be there much earlier.
I think after
Ugh.
Dylan's advice of the alarm clock we have to stand up for, I think you get even a step further. Like the Pee Wee Herman, you know how you used to have like those machines that go off like a certain time?
Yeah.
You know, like on the shows? Well, I say you do that, but if you don't get up out of bed at like 6 a.m., it's going to sack tap you. Like it has like all the...
Jordan Spieth just comes in with his putter.
It just has all these...
Now that's motivation.
Well, no, it is like all the machines that go off, and you have the noise and Pee Wee
final
Herman.
deal
Pee
is
Wee Herman.
whap.
It's
The
just it's a
the word
putter
of the
that
day.
looks like it's a putter that looks like
Magic
Jordan
word.
Spieth's holding it that sack taps you.
Yeah.
and
You get her up
but
then.
if you're out of bed, it's just going to get the mattress.
It is pretty amazing how often I wake
Yeah.
up. When I come in here on Monday mornings, that's the day I have to wake up early.
I feel bad for you.
And I rarely does my alarm go off now because my wife has gotten out of bed earlier.
Phew.
But it's usually I kind of just roll over. Oh, it's I have it set for 4:55 because I can. Doesn't take long to shower, and I can be here.
You don't have any hair.
5:30.
You don't have to worry about washing
So,
your hair.
What-
but
does
a
your
lot of
eyebrows take a
times
while
I'll just
to-
wake up at 4:51?
Yeah.
There you
There you
go.
go.
Let's
Got
get
it.
out of bed.
All
Lebo's
good, man.
only
The other
hairs is
days-
eyebrows.
No alarms ever.
Yeah.
But you still, you know what? Saturday morning, it's 6:30, 6 o'clock. I'm awake.
Yeah, once that rhythm's there, it's there. Todd Lebo
Old
is
man rhythm.
with us. Todd, not a surprise when the numbers have come out. The most watched Masters in 7 years, up 33% from last year. And Scheffler doesn't exactly draw the crowd
No.
in. And he had most of the back nine, like a 3 and sometimes 4-stroke lead, almost the
when
entire
Royer was
back
up
nine.
4 strokes, I thought we had nothing.
Yeah, right.
But then it went away.
Quickly, like 2 holes later, all of a sudden he's tied. But it's Scheffler,
Yeah.
sort of robotic, and he was leading by 4 last year. So not a surpase.
And
But
the career Grand Slam's a big deal.
Yeah.
Rory's a big deal. He's almost won there before. All these things. He's
most watched in 7 years.
he's a big personality who worldwide too, and not just here in America.
Yeah.
And it was great drama. I mean, I was glued,
Yeah.
absolutely glued. It was worth the watch, and it was funny. I was texting with my buddies after the first 2 holes. Rory's toast, over, blah blah blah, and then like 10 seconds later, not so fast. Sorry, oh Bryson's toast, and then then it was like, oh, this is done. Rory's got this thing done. He just kept making birdies, and everything was going good. And he got through 12, where, when he blew the big lead when he was young on 11 and 12, I mean, I thought, all right, you made it through there. But then he got a little bit,
complacent.
3-wood, iron. He didn't just rip the drive on 13. And hitting that ball in the water on 13 is unbelievable from where he was.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It was a worse shot than the other shots were great.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how do you not? And my whole pushback was, in that situation with a 3 or 4 stroke lead at that point, how do you not even just club up or hit a full one or aim for the middle of the green?
He just aim. I don't know why he was aiming for that little nub for.
Yeah, I think he was 13 under and Rose was 11 under at that point.
It was only a 2.
No, I think he was 14.
I think it was 14 and Rose was 10.
13.
Because then Rose kept birdieing.
Because he birdied 10 to get to 14.
Right.
Yeah.
And then 13 is when he started his run of
it was
crap.
it was perplexing. I don't know if it's a caddy. I don't know if he just hit it, mishit it. If he was trying and he just.
Well, how many times that
mishit it
week?
that
I don't think he ever hits 3-wood off the tee. He's a driver guy, but he knew, hey, I got a lead. I'll be smart. Let's just do the smart thing. Get up here and I'll easily maybe have a birdie putt, a short birdie putt, and he ends up putting in the water. And then he missed the putt coming back, and then he looked like. I'll give him credit for this. One of the hardest things, and this is how you have to find out if you're a champion on a golf course, is when you do something dumb, can you get back up off the mat? And he did more than one thing dumb. I mean, he hit the ball in the sand on 1. Hit the ball in the sand on 2. He gave these shots all back, and he was like, all right, well, then he birdied 3, and all right, you did it. You got up off the mat. You got knocked down. And then you knocked yourself out, put yourself on the mat again on 13, and you're like, oh, my gosh, this guy, how are you going to do this? And when he didn't make the eagle putt on 15, I'm like, oh, boy, it's going to be tight. Because that shot, I thought when he hit the driver on 15 that he didn't have a chance because the ball was too far left. But that shot was for the ages that he put 8 feet from the hole and he missed the putt.
Beautiful draw.
And you're like, oh, my gosh, this guy.
Slang.
Yeah, so
and
he was
once he missed the eagle putt, I'm like, this is probably going to be tight.
Well, we probably thought it was going to be Oberg originally. We thought Oberg was the guy that.
Well, he piddled down his leg.
17 and 18, he was 4 over in his last 2 holes.
And Justin Rose just kept playing 10 birdies on Sunday at Augusta. It was unbelievable. So then when you miss the 4-foot putt to win the Masters on 18,
it was 4 at most.
4-foot putt. These guys are like 99% from that distance.
Yes, and Rory has missed more 4-footers in big-time moments.
Yes.
Because he missed 2 at the Open.
Yes.
Remember, he missed 2.
Yeah.
So he missed that putt, and now you're crushed again. For the 3rd time, you've blown this thing today. And then you have to get in the cart and go back and do it again. So I give him ultimate kudos for getting up off the mat. And you blame him for sabotaging himself.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he got bad breaks.
No.
He did dumb things.
He didn't bounce off. Like, who was it that was it?
Hit the flagstick and had to go back in the water.
And came back in the water.
It wasn't that.
But to me, what was the shot that really had to happen was after the missed putt on 18. That tee shot is the hardest part of 18.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize. I've been there, and that thing is tight.
It's the one shot that you can't hook it on too if you're a right-hander.
Well, you can't draw it because you're gonna.
You have to
or
you
fade.
Have to kind of fade. You can barely fade. You got to hit a straight shot.
You have to hit a straight because if you fade it, you're gonna potentially clip those trees.
Yes.
If you draw it at all, or even hit it somewhat straight, you're gonna be in the bunker, which we saw Oberg do, and then he hit the lip because it's a deep bunker.
That's right.
And
he had hit 2 great drives. The drive he hit, I thought he won the tournament when he hit the drive on 18.
Yes. And so when he was able to replicate that after Rose hits a perfect shot, it's almost harder for Rory because he hits it so far and because he kind of plays a draw a lot of times. To me, it made that tee shot in 18 when he came back and go, well, once Rose hit his drive, I go, well, Rory can't replicate that same drive that he did
in
the first 18, and he did.
Yeah.
And then hit the second shot so good you couldn't miss that putt.
Rory was
almost did. He pulled, I don't know if you noticed, he pulled it. I thought he pulled it.
Rory bogeyed 11. So he got to 14 under, bogeyed 11. So it was 13 under to 11 under on 13 when he doubled to drop to 11 and be in a tie with Rose. And it was like a 5-stroke lead coming off of 10 is gone, leaving 13.
Yeah. And that's happened
so fast.
I mean, it happened to him earlier in his career. I mean, that's the Greg Norman one as well when
Yeah.
Nick Faldo got his third. I mean, this happens on the backside. It absolutely does, or the second 9, as they call it.
I know, right?
But
You can't say the back 9 because it sounds like backside, which
I
you
can
said.
say it. I'm not down there. I can say whatever I want. But
Wow,
the
Lebo.
fans were going crazy.
It's patrons.
No, the fans were going crazy.
In. That's what I call it.
So
not out, but in.
It was the inward 9.
Yeah, the inward 9.
That's
what I call my course.
Really amazing drama, and I for one was rooting for him.
I was too.
I like him a little bit. I don't like him when he's battling against the United States in the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
But I think he's a great golfer, and I think there are several great golfers who deserve to have Grand Slams, and they don't. I'm glad he got it. I mean, Tom Watson deserves to be a Grand Slam guy. Phil Mickelson absolutely deserves to be a Grand Slam guy.
Does he have 7 second
7
place
or 8
finishes
seconds
at the U.S. Open?
At the U.S. Open, he just can't get it done. So there are a lot of guys who deserve it, and it was cool to see him get it. And with all the drama there, and who knows what's real with like real emotion, not emotion, whatever. But that looked like real emotion to me.
Yeah, I think that was
the
real.
tears were real.
I think
And
that was real.
he creates half of his own drama himself with his wife and talking about, and he didn't file for divorce, but kind of did. I don't know. Blah, blah.
And
Who
then,
knows?
and then
know what
skipping
happened
out
there.
last year at the U.S. Open, like skipping out on that was bad.
That was bad.
That was right.
And,
That was a terrible look.
He broke up with Wozniacki with an email while they already the wedding invitations out 10 years ago or what it was. I mean, the guy, he creates his own problems.
Yeah.
But there's lots of guys like that.
But then he finds his way out with his charming Irish accent.
That always works.
That sort of flows in and out from time to time. Like
Yes,
I like
it was
Rory.
gone. His Irish accent was gone like 2 years ago.
Well, he lives in Florida, but every once in a while, he'll be talking, and it's like, well, on the back 9 when we got down there in the fairway, and I had to use my iron.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it
we got
was
up on the green.
It did.
If he's sitting there talking to Shane Lowry, it gets probably thick.
It's probably pretty thick.
But yes, what happened? It used to. That's what it used to be, and now it's after he won, he was like, it was It was
Dude,
Shrek.
I would go when I would go down to OU, and I would come home. You would start saying "fixin' to" and stuff like that. Like, what people are like, what's wrong?
You got them fixins on there too.
But you get around people. So you live in Florida for a while. You get around. You don't.
I
talk
lived in
Irish for a
Philly. I
while.
said John.
Yeah, you John. It's how it goes. So you get around people and you start talking that way. So yeah, it is. It's wild. I was happy to see him. I was happy to see him win, and it was amazing.
It was great
Amazing
drama, but it was drama because you didn't know each shot from Rory if it was going to be in the trees or 3 foot from the
Right.
cup. Like, it was like he's hitting great shots and he's hitting terrible shots. This is an easy approach, and he put it into the water. How can you do that? This is an
I
easy
was
approach
really
on 18. Just
surprised
put
Bryson
it on the green.
Just lost his game too. He was just
Well,
couldn't hit the tee shots.
all four rounds, the entire. I was almost impressed with his ability to grind and scramble because he couldn't find. It felt like the face of the club with his irons or tee shots almost the entire.
Made some putts, kept him in it.
Yeah, I mean, he scrambled very well. And he kind of talked about it and alluded to it afterwards. So take that as you will. Yeah, it's a choke job to an extent, but also it's like I was impressed he was able to stay in it the way he was able to.
Ground through it, yeah.
But yeah, I think Rory, that entire round, it's the duality of man. The highs were incredibly high and the lows
It's
were
roller
incredibly low.
roller coasty.
Rory Coasty.
Rory coaster.
Yeah, I like that one. It was Rory Coaster.
Because you look at his score, and when they put it up there, it's circles and squares or whatever. He didn't have any with nothing on it. It was a circle or a square or a double square.
We were
It had
talking
like two
about
pars,
that
right?
on Monday because we were like, well, which was the one that he parred? I'm like, well, let me check out here. He had 4 holes that he parred. I think we can kind of.
I think it was 4.
I think we can kind of piece it together as which hole we're talking about that he ended up parring.
Is crazy up and down, nutty round, and the emotions there are crazy. And the back 9 is awesome, and you hear everything else happening everywhere. We talk about that all the time, but Justin Rose just kept steady, and kept making those putts. And it's like, God, is he going to do this? Because he's been good there before too. He probably
He's been
deserved to
second a couple
win
times.
a
The
Masters and hasn't got
Sergio
it done.
playoff in 17. But the thing with Justin, I feeling bad is such a strong way of saying it, but his shot into 18 on the playoff hole.
So close to rolling back down. It was
Well,
gonna-
I don't know how it didn't. I actually felt like his shot was
It
almost.
hit the flag.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, I mean they said it. It hit the
you think
flag.
it
and
nipped the flag and it
I
took
did-
the spin?
I didn't even see
Yeah,
that.
I didn't
mean,
hear that or see that.
damn near. If it didn't,
It wouldn't surprise me if it did.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't surprise me because it was just an absolute dart, and it took one. It was close to Patrick Reed and just one hopping in, but then it took the bounce. It released farther than expected, and it didn't come back down the hill. I don't say I felt bad for the guy, but that shot should have been within where Rory's was. I thought it got a little unlucky.
Well, DeChambeau and Rory both played amen corner 3 over, and Rose went through 11, 12, 13 at 3 under.
Yeah,
those 3 holes was 6-stroke difference between
Wild.
Rose and Rory. Like just those 3 holes alone. Like,
well, and he had a bogey too. I mean, he's probably kicking himself for that. I mean,
Rose.
did 10 birdies and 2 bogies or 3 bogies, whatever it was.
Did
But
you
he had
see-
a bogey on the backside.
Did you see Patrick Reed would have been the playoff, but he 3-putted from 3 feet on hole 12 or
Oh man,
13.
so sad.
Oh, no, yeah, I don't.
Yeah, Rose
Everyone
bogeyed
feels
17.
for him. Yeah.
Yeah, Rose is back 9. Par. Birdie, 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 bogey. Birdie, birdie, bogey, birdie.
Yeah,
Par in the playoff.
yeah,
It's
crazy.
the only hole that he did not birdie or bogey from 11 on was when he parred, and Rory then birdied
Yeah.
18.
It was
18
great.
was a hard birdie hole to an extent. I think 18. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
17 and 18. I think are just very,
Just gotta
very
hit a good
difficult.
tee shot.
Well, he had
man.
what
Yeah.
was it, a 20-foot putt to birdie for Rose on
Yeah.
18 before the playoff? Like he birdied it, but he birdied it with a brilliant putt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not
when
a
he did
surprise.
that, boy, it just put all that pressure. And it is so neat there because you really have to look at the scoreboard to know where you are.
Yeah.
And, you know, all that.
The final picture of Rory celebrating in the background, no phones out,
None.
just celebrating. King Griffey Jr. just getting shot after shot,
Just taking pics.
just killing it.
It's funny, like people still don't really realize, like my buddy who likes golf but doesn't like watch golf all the time, he texted our group. He's like, why do they not have phones there? Why, are they really waiting for the scores? I said, yeah, that's the
Yes.
deal. You ain't got no phone.
No phone.
You have to wait. If you're 3 holes away and they flip that score up, that's how you know what's happening.
Yeah, and that's why I was
that-
so surprised, like watching the 17th and the 18th for Rory, and Justin Rose. They kept showing him on the in the practice range, but like there's stands behind Justin Rose. There were people in the stands behind Justin Rose when Rory's going up 17-18. Like
He's crowded, man.
you're just
Yeah,
like,
That's
why I
one
said
thing my
there's
wife
no
said.
room.
She's like,
but you're just
"Can
hanging
those
out watching
people
him
see that?"
practice.
I said, no, most of the people around that green can't see
Yeah,
anything.
right. Yeah, that's,
Well, because there's no room, so
guess.
what are you going to do? You're going to see Justin Rose and wait for his reaction.
climb up
or
a tree. That's
mill-
okay
mill,
there,
mill
right?
around. Yeah.
It is interesting that they have chosen not to put bleachers around 9 and 18 there. There are bleachers all over the place
Yeah.
down there, but there's no bleachers there, and they could put 30,000 people just around that. But they don't do it. They want to keep it looking like it does. And you
pristine.
just put your little chairs out there.
Is there a rule for no phones? Is that
Yeah.
what it is? Because when I went in 09, so I was young
no,
enough.
everybody's just disciplined. Everybody just walks in and is like, you know
well,
what?
I don't
I'm also
know. I
not
mean,
gonna have my-
well,
Do you go to a real round or a practice
so
round?
we went to the practice.
The practice round, you can have your phone.
So we, well,
or
I
you
don't
can have
remember.
your camera.
That's what it
went-
was. I think it was a camera
Yeah,
because
you can take
we
a
went
camera.
Wednesday, and that was I told everyone, if you have a kid who is ages 10 to 16, that is the best
Oh, it's
thing
awesome.
because I was 14 and you're young enough to where I have a hat signed by everyone, Phil Mickelson, all those guys, but you're also old enough to where, at least for me, I love golf, so you know all the players, you understand everything, you have the etiquette.
Practice rounds are great because you can. That's what I did. I went to a practice round and I had a digital camera. I don't know, I took 300 pictures.
Yeah,
probably.
And you can walk with the guys, and the guys a lot of times
Oh, yeah, they just chat with you.
They're very they'll talk with you. They're very open, and it is such. And I know it's so hard to get to, and that's what's kind of the mystique behind it. You gotta. For the most part, it doesn't really matter how much money you have. You
gotta win the
you
lottery
got to win the
first.
lottery. I mean, yeah, if you're a millionaire,
Yeah,
you'll find a way down.
or have enough money to win the lottery.
Yeah, but
yeah, you were 14 and got Phil Mickelson's autograph. I think when I was 14 and got Phil Mickelson's autograph, I think I had to go to Arizona State to get that autograph from Phil
Well,
Mickelson.
he told me
he
it
was in college.
It's why I loved Phil and I still love Phil I hate the live stuff, but why I love Phil so much was we were there. I asked him, I was like, hey, Mr. Mickelson, can I get your autograph? And he goes, find me on this hole. And I went there and found him on that hole, and he was like, hey, you did it. You found me.
Made you work a little bit.
And so
Made you work for it.
now I want you to go and find a number 2 pencil on the 7th hole.
Maybe on the 9th green.
Can you give me any insider trading tips I can use? Or?
I told me I did a flop shot. It was weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
See, you're golfing wrong-handed.
I'm also lefty.
He's a lefty.
That's why.
He's a lefty. That's why he liked lefty.
That's why I like. But it was cool because he signed that, and he didn't sign hardly anyone else. And Jim Furyk, signed it and decided to.
Did he sign it funky too? Like
He signed the hat.
Phil Mickelson writes right-handed though, right? He's like
I don't
think
remember.
he is. I think he's a weird guy.
Well,
He's
I
like
write right-handed too.
Dylan?
You and Phil are same.
Dylan writes.
do.
I write left and golf right.
Kick left-footed, right left-handed, throw and bat right-handed. I mean, it's all over the
You're a
place.
psycho.
He writes left-handed, but he throws right-handed. Well
How
done,
do
Dylan.
you murder people? What hand?
What's the
Never.
process? Well, how are you doing it?
I don't know.
Shooting,
What's your
stabbing?
method there?
What are you doing?
All I know was Furyk though when he threw the hat back into the. He just threw it instead of giving it back to me. He signed it and threw it back up. Luckily, I got the hat back. I was like, Jim, what the hell, guy?
Just call him Jim. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Fact or fiction coming up next. Well, should we play a little fact or fiction
We
here?
better get after it.
Let's do it. Yeah, it's we're running a little bit behind. You know.
Let's go, Sterling.
That's
if you
right.
think we're gonna play, you got another thing coming.
Why?
That's a Judas Priest song
Yeah.
we're listening to.
Oh,
He's just
sorry.
got a
Sorry, I
little
just thought I'd
mixed
break the law.
up. Fact. Another thing coming.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay,
was that
very good.
Do you need a painkiller for that joke?
That's enough. Nobody gets all these.
Sorry, I'm a metal god
Are you
out here.
a turbo lover?
You say yes. No one knows that song, but I love
go.
that song of a point of entry.
I say yes
Love
to
that
fact or
song.
fiction. We go around the room. Well, Dylan, Todd, myself, we try to guess in fact or fiction, or pick fact or fiction what Sterling is thinking, not what we actually think, but what Sterling is thinking with
Maybe.
fact or fiction.
It's hard
but
to tell.
that's true. Sometimes it runs together as one. We'll start with Todd. He's the guest.
Just added this one. Is Painkiller my favorite? Judas? No, I'm just kidding.
Fact?
It is.
But it is that's how you
Maybe.
Word it. Yes,
I
Painkiller is my favorite.
Lebo.
Yeah.
I think the Royals score 5 or more runs tonight.
Fiction.
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 Yeah, it's fiction.
Max Fried's on the mound.
Well, this would be the
could've
night
said
because
2.
they're really good at beating good pitchers and really bad at beating bad pitchers. So tonight actually might happen.
Yeah,
This
just
is
put
the
him in the
night.
playoffs. Tied at 1, Dylan.
We'll go to Dylan this time. We'll go that way if you don't mind.
That's fine. I'll go last.
Daniel Lynch should be in the circle of trust in the bullpen.
I will go fact.
100% fact.
Totes fact.
Yeah, this is a big fact. It's a big fact. So
Big facts. That's what I'm talking about. Whoop, whoop. Big facts. Whoop,
Big
whoop.
facts.
all right, now we're getting into difficult ones. Jason, Jalen Moore plays the next 2 years as a Chiefs left tackle.
Fact.
Every single game, or he gets hurt, whatever.
Because he's
But-
the
but
sort of like
doesn't
incumbent
get
starter.
pulled. Doesn't get pulled, but yeah, he is the starter. Injuries, of course, but
Not fiction. I mean,
What's his contract? 2-year deal?
yeah.
it's a 2-year, but they can get out after 1.
I'll go fiction.
Fact.
Yeah. Boom.
I think he plays the next 2 years as the Chiefs left
You
tackle.
guys
but
are so stupid. God,
maybe part of it's because I hope he
Kind
does.
of a fact.
I can't believe how dumb you guys are.
I hope he does.
Yeah, we'll check this one.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We always do. We typically
You
come
don't
back
remember
and
this
check.
one in 2 years? Good
Yeah.
job.
Yep.
Remember it in week 3.
We,
Let's go.
we need,
Jalen Moore
Kingsley only,
benched.
Kingsley only took
God, I hope
7
not.
quarters. We'll start with Todd on
Move
this
up
one.
to
Lebo.
Yeah.
Oklahoma with the NBA playoffs, of course, getting underway tonight. Oklahoma City Thunder will play in the NBA Finals.
Well, I think they will, but you probably like some Lakers magic with Doncic or something, but I'm going to say fact.
I'll go Western Conference Final, but I'll go fiction because I don't think they'll get past that hump.
I am going to say fiction.
It's a fact. They're
Let's
to get
go.
over the hump. That hump is just a bump in the road.
Okay.
The Western Conference, though, is an absolute bear.
It's good.
I mean, it's absurd.
I
But
just
okay.
went with the odds of
I get it.
picking one team over the field.
I get it, but I have conviction.
Okay.
I went with the
that's
odds
fine.
of not starting every game for a left tackle, but
It still wouldn't.
Dumb.
whatever.
You're so
Dumb.
stupid. Dylan leads us up. Leads us
Dylan.
off this one. Leads us up. Dylan leads us up.
Lead us up.
Lead us up, Dylan. Where are we heading?
That's why the Royals struggle. They keep saying, lead us up now.
Lead us up now.
Come on, Jonathan India. Lead us up. I actually like the NBA play-in games.
Man, this is not something we've ever talked
I
about
know.
on the
That's
air.
what I'm
Yeah.
trying to
We've
think
not-
about.
Wow. This is a good one.
I'm going to go fiction just because I don't think you like that over half the league gets to play in the playoffs.
My initial inclination was fiction, or was fact, but I think I'm going to go fiction. I think that you're not a fan of it. Just get the playoffs started.
Ice smells like a fact to me. Only way they keep the Sixers alive.
This, you son of a super fiction. I hate this, dog. I hate. Over half the NBA makes the playoffs.
Dylan nailed it, by the way.
Yes, Dylan, you get
Dylan
an
gets
extra
an
half
extra
point.
half. Dylan's
Dylan,
at 3.5.
Get him a half. It's
Not only
BS.
did he get it right, he got the reasoning behind it, too.
I'm so mad. Adam Silver, stop this. This is not soccer. What are we doing here? What are you doing here?
It is soccer. They have an
Close.
in-season tournament,
Yeah,
too.
well, yeah, it pisses me off. It's not soccer, Adam Silver.
win a
After
trophy.
all the greatness that David Stern did and the greatness that Adam Silver's commissioner start, he's deciding to just throw it down the drain. I'm so angry right now.
Some say Rob Manfred is better.
No, no one says that.
Where
Even
should-
me.
Dylan thinks he should be working
Adam
somewhere
Silver,
else.
what
I
are you
know.
doing? It's not soccer.
Anywhere else.
Anywhere else.
What are you going to have ties now? Or ties going to be a thing? A free throw shooting competition to win?
Let's do
Dumb.
it. Wish they'd have done that. Wish Missouri would have done that against Drake.
If
Can they
the
change it?
Sixers would have made it, I would have had probably a different thought process.
They weren't even good enough to make that.
Well, yeah,
No.
not a free throw contest.
They were
'cause
buns, dude.
You don't want
Part of the
Fultz doing that.
process,
Yeah, that's right. I'll lead us up this week. This time, 4-3.
Up and up.
Up and up. Lead us up. Lead us off. I'm off and up this weekend. Right now, today. Me.
Nailed it.
The Sixers were the most disappointing team this year.
Oh, that's fact.
Sure, fact.
Yeah, it's an easy fact.
Yeah, fact.
Fiction, Suns. Sixers suck. What are we talking about? Sixers.
Did the
I said
Sixers
trade
even
Embiid.
fire everybody.
I said trade Embiid.
Sixers.
I
lost.
said the Paul George contract was absolutely atrocious. You have Tyrese Maxey.
They
That's
made their
fun.
own bed, didn't they?
That's my point.
Yeah,
like
they
they
made their own bed.
they were going to be bad.
No
I
expectations.
was going to be disappointed, and I was. But
Sixers
the
lost
Suns.
12 more games this year than the Suns. You're so stupid. Who got the point for that?
No one. 'Cause you
one.
guys are
We
all
all-
bad at the game.
Okay, that's fine.
We're all Sixers.
4-3. We're all tied. We will start with Todd. This one.
LeBeau. I think Rory wins at least one more major this year.
Oh, this
this
year.
year?
Okay.
Nah,
Oh,
I'll say
wow.
fiction.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
That's-
fiction.
I am good. Well, yeah. You know what? The monkey's off his back. I think you're going fact.
Fact, yeah, monkey's off his back. I think he's going to play loose.
My question about the whole monkey off the back thing,
Mm-hmm.
the guy tried as hard as he possibly could to do what he does all the time. The other guys just kind of didn't come through either. Like, did
No,
it
no,
really
no, no.
get the monkey off his back?
Yeah,
Is
it
he
did
still-
because
Okay.
Justin Rose pushed him.
I'm just saying if someone's close to him in these majors going forward, I don't know if he'll play clutch or like think
Sure.
back to, remember how I bogeyed and double bogeyed at the Masters and still won?
I think there'll be something to it, though. I do
Maybe.
think.
We'll find out.
And last time
Find out.
he won on a run of winning a whole bunch of majors in a row.
Majors?
Majors.
Majors.
I think this starts another run.
Who's
going
gonna
to
lead him up?
Who's going to lead him up?
Well, because in the live,
up next?
only
Dylan leads us up
Bryson-
this one.
I was right, by the way.
It's
He's gonna
tied
win
at
one more this
5-3. We're all tied. Dylan leads us off.
year. Lebo,
Yes.
you're third on this one.
Dylan leads us off on this one.
Dylan's up.
He's up.
Luther Burden will go top 20 in this NFL
Fiction.
draft.
Fact.
Fact.
Fiction.
You're so stupid.
I'm on a bad run here.
Todd.
Dude, he is
You are
going like a
rough.
rock
4 in a
right now. I
row.
don't know why.
Yeah, you've got 3 total points
Man,
out of 8.
My questions were too good.
I look like Rory's scorecard backside.
I will. I'll.
Up and
I'll
down. I need to get
I'll-
up.
How about I lead us off by being up this one?
Armand Mimbu
Uh-huh.
will be the first tackle taken. Fact or fiction?
I'm gonna say that's a fact.
He's moving up the boards. I'll go ahead and say fiction, so I can lose another in a row.
I'll go fact.
Fact. It's him or Will Campbell. But I think Will Campbell has too many questions about
We can check
the arm
this one,
length.
by the way.
I was gonna say if you went
They all
fiction
got
on
short
that one
arms this year.
If you went fiction on that one, then it's like, all right. So why do you hate Missouri now? Luther Burden isn't going to be
I
taken
love
in the
Missouri.
top 20.
Well, because Luther Burden's going to be taking 31.
Sure. Todd will.
Lead up.
Leaves.
Todd is off.
We're going to work
lead
out
up,
at
man.
9
Leading up.
a.m. on Friday together.
Fact.
Fact, yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a question.
DJ Giddens goes before Devin Neal in the draft.
I think he probably will. Fact.
By principle, I got to go fiction, so fiction.
Yeah, I think that's a fact.
It's fiction. I think Devin Neal goes before DJ Giddens.
We will check up on this one.
We can.
We can't. We will.
'Kay.
We will check up on that one.
When the
6 bogeys in a row here.
The
Yeah.
Chiefs are going to draft Devin Neal in the 4th round, so get ready for it.
Giddens is the only player above 5'9" that has a sub 4.5 40 and a sub 1.5 10-yard split.
Okay.
He's the only
Let's
player
go.
to have both of those.
2 left.
And be taller than 5'9".
Dylan.
Dylan leads us off. 2 left. We're tied at 6-3.
I actually really like doing mock drafts.
I'll go fact. I think it's fun to do them, but
I think it's a fact for you. I think you enjoy doing
Let me
that.
try to miss another one. Fiction.
Fiction. I hate
Oh,
mock drafts,
no!
dude.
You like
He
mock
likes real
drafts.
life.
I like real life. What am I doing here?
Is this real life?
There's going to be a trade in the top 10, and everything's going to be messed up. I don't
Yeah, but
care
it
about
doesn't
mock
mean
drafts.
that the player wouldn't be going then at that point.
Don't give a hoot nor a holler.
I will be. You know what? I'll be last on this one.
All right.
Lead up.
No, I'm going to lead us up on this one.
I rock with pulled pork over ribs typically.
I think you're dumb, but I'm going to say that's a fact.
Fiction.
I'll go fiction as well.
It's a fact. I typically
Yeah,
rock
you're
with
stupid.
pulled pork over ribs
You want
typically.
to get your fingers dirty.
Yeah, I like to get my fingers dirty. It ruins clothes.
I'm gonna eat my ribs
No,
with a
I
fork.
love
Are we
ribs. But
tied?
ribs are the most inconsistent meat typically. So pulled pork
Where
is
are you
going to be
going to eat?
consistently
That's
great.
your problem, is picking the wrong spot to go and eat. If you're talking about ribs being inconsistent, they shouldn't be inconsistent around here.
What's the score?
It's 7-6 to 4. We're all tied. And so that means if we're all tied, we definitely need a tiebreaker.
And it is?
Sterling.
Which royal position player gets sent down or cut next?
Okay.
Okay, so we're not like ranking them 1 through 5 of the most likely ones.
Well,
One and done.
all right. Yeah, we'll rank them.
1 through 3.
1 through 3.
Top 3. 1 through 3 of the position players that are either going to get optioned or DFA'd.
Yes.
All right. We'll do that on the other side of the break with our tiebreaker, tied up at 7-6 to 4. Position player ranked 1 through 3. Most needs to go either optioned or DFA'd.
Which Royal position player gets cut or sent down next?
I have Hunter Melendez.
Ding, ding.
Because it's next, it's MJ's number 1.
Yeah.
MJ is number
MJ's
1.
MJ's number 1.
MJ's
Because
number
it's
1.
next. It wouldn't be It wouldn't be the one that I prefer.
The real move is
but it would be
cutting Hunter Renfrow.
Okay,
Hunter Renfrow.
salary.
but number 1
is
who gets sent down or cut next?
MJ.
MJ gets sent down next.
He's got to be.
Number
Yeah.
2,
Renfrow.
DFA.
DFA'd.
Drew Waters gets sent down next. I don't love it. I don't love it, but I think that's the way
Okay.
when Mark Canna comes back, I think MJ gets sent down.
That's true.
And then I think Drew Waters gets a little more of a taste. And
I was thinking more just getting off the roster, totally.
And my affinity for Drew Waters is starting to wane.
It's
And
waning.
Is it running dry?
I hate it. It's a dry Waters.
What
Yes.
about you? So you're just saying
Number 3,
extend Hunter Renfrow. Or what?
Renfro, it's the Royals. They're going to keep him until like May
Extend Hunter
15th.
Hey, listen, they cut
So what's
bait
number-
on Hunter Dozier.
Yeah.
If your name's Hunter and you're a position player, Harvey's different.
So what's number 3?
Renfro.
Okay. I went MJ, Renfrow, and Biggio.
Biggio's
Since
close.
Cavan's on the team to get on base, and he's getting on
Same.
base at 270.
Pretty good
so
for this team.
if your job is to get on
That's
base, you
actually
should probably.
pretty good for this team.
Yeah,
isn't
you're
it?
not wrong.
I
about that.
think they're going to give Renfro until at least May. I think MJ gets sent down. I think Waters will get sent down,
Yeah.
and eventually they'll have to cut bait with Renfro.
Meant to do this earlier in the show, but congrats to Serena Sundell from K-State. Maryville Spoof Hounds in the house, getting drafted by Seattle last night.
Good deal.
Pretty awesome that her brother Jalen plays for the Seahawks from Maryville Spoof Hounds.
Go
She
Spoof
gets
Hounds.
drafted by Seattle, so she now is playing her pro ball in Seattle with her brother.
Nice.
Oh.
She got drafted, though, so she's got that over her brother, Jalen. So congratulations
Bang.
there. Thank you, Todd. Program next.